How you doing?
I'm good.
Dan called me one day this week, or I guess maybe Friday or Saturday, I don't know. And he just showed it, and I called him back. And I called his voice, and I'm like, who is this? He said, Dan. I thought it was Danny, so we got so much going on. He was calling me about a car ticket.
I was saying, what was he calling you about?
A car, somebody was selling a right-hand drive mill truck. And I was like, this ain't Danny.
Oh, Gary will be trying to call him at work. He'll call me some.
Yeah, I was like, this ain't Danny's voice.
Let's look at that court room.
Is that your Pepsi?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I figured, yeah, because she's not going to be here, so I figured I better get some extra space. I went to the eye doctor today and I had my eyes dilated. I can see y'all, but I can't see them out there.
That's probably a good thing.
Sonia, you ready? Everybody ready? You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, throw down. Thank you for being here tonight. We'll call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum present, and we will start with invocation by Council Member Natalie Cogswell.
Good evening, everyone. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the sunshine. We also thank you for the rain, Lord. We thank you for all those that turn out today that have concern about the city, Lord. And I ask that that we make the right decision and what's pleasing to this town, Lord. And I ask that you be with our children, our school teachers, as everybody starts back to school tomorrow. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now it's our time for public comment. I know we've got a lot of people here that may not come to council meetings all the time, so I just want to make sure that everybody knows exactly how these things go. You know, city council meetings are basically purposes for council to discuss and act on issues in a public setting. So this meeting is for us to be talking with each other. We do offer, we're not required to offer time for public comment, but we do, because it's a courtesy to our citizens. Our ordinance allows for a total of 20 minutes, but we're going to let everybody speak that signed up. Most cities, or a lot of cities, allow only citizens who live inside the city limits to speak, but we're going to let everybody talk. Everybody's got 2 minutes to make comments. It's not a question and answer time, so be organized and be ready. Please state your name clearly and when you begin. Ms. Lewis, right there, wave your hand. Ms. Lewis will have a timer that will sound at the 2-minute mark. When your 2 minutes are up, please respect the citizens coming after you and on their time, and stop when the alarm sounds. If you have notes that you want to have attached to anything, you can leave those with Ms. Lewis. So, Ms. Lewis, we will ask you to call our citizens, and we will continue on.
Miss Jeannie Browning.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pleasure to see you again. I am simply giving you a report about what I said last time. I was talking about the planning stages of some events in Clinton, and we had our third annual Art Clinton 2026 Festival. That entailed 119 works of art, 42 artists from 12 cities on display in 17 Clinton businesses. We gave away $2,000 in cash awards given to 13 exhibiting artists. We had 28 painters in the outdoor art battles, consisting of 11 adults and 17 children on the square. And we also had 5 sales of artworks during the festival. So artists and visitors came to our city from Laurens, Greenwood, Whitmire, Mountville, Honeypath, Lake Greenwood, Donnells, Union, Rock Hill, Spartanburg, and Anderson. I want to invite you to our next event. You have this in your papers already passed out. You have the information for the gallery on one side. On the reverse, there's an invitation. You are invited to the Clinton Art Gallery's next themed exhibit for the month of August. It is Let's Face It. It's a portrait exhibit of faces, and over 20 artists have already submitted work, and I have more coming this week. We have both traditional artwork, realistic, and also abstract and whimsical. The reception is August the 11th at 6:30 p.m. at 113 North Broad Street, and you're all invited. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for attending our last reception for Art Clinton. Your presence was noted and appreciated. I appreciate your support and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Sarah Whitman.
Hello, my name is Sarah Whitman, and I'm going to be discussing Cambridge Farms development. So I live at 23 Cambridge Road, which is the first house right on the corner when entering the Mary Oaks neighborhood. And there is no doubt that this developmental plan will bring much more additional traffic, noise, and safety concerns to Highway 56, which will directly affect my house and my family. The SCDOT had previously reviewed a traffic study and required right turn lanes at both proposed entrances, and that an additional right-of-way may be needed. If this development is passed, how does the City of Clinton plan to take the SCDOT findings into consideration? Who will be funding the necessary improvements? On May 8, 2025, the Lawrence County Senior Planner wrote that 2 accesses for over 500 homes would be a traffic nightmare inside and outside of the project. The plan before the city today has the same 2 access points, but now includes a commercial parcel, which would bring even more cars to the area. If traffic and entrances were an issue then, the problem will only increase with this new proposal. Has the city completed a new traffic study to include how a commercial parcel will affect traffic? Motorists already go well beyond the speed limit on Highway 56. Are there plans to reduce the speed limit coming into the stretch of highway from both directions? Or to add speed patrols to help ensure the safety of the families who already live and drive this stretch of road daily? Residents deserve to have these questions answered before any new zoning is approved. The city deserves smart and responsible growth, and unfortunately, I do not believe Cambridge Farms fits the bill, which is why I respectfully ask you to put safety first and vote no today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ed Gooch.
My name is Ed Gooch, and I come to talk to you in the name of safety. I could make this really short and say what she said, but I want you, council members, to consider driving down Broad Street from the north to the south and coming to that place at the southern end of Broad Street where the road diverges, and you've got Highway 72 on the right and you've got Highway 56 on the left. And then I want you to continue imagining, if you will, going down 56. Nice 4-lane, well-developed, speed limit is 35, I believe. And then you come down to the National Healthcare, I think you all know where that is, and the road narrows and 4 lanes become 2 lanes. Not only that, the speed limit rises from 35 to 45. Now, I live in the neighborhood across the road from 56 on the eastern side of 56, across from the area where development is being proposed. So I get to see a lot of the folks that drive on 56. I get to deal with them. Some of them don't know what 45 really means. I think they read it a little bit higher than that. I only ask you, please, to consider the impact of a development on the traffic that Highway 56 will bear if the development occurs. And I ask you to consider that in your deliberations. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Mr. Corey Cannon.
Council, good evening. My name is Corey Cannon. My wife Sue and I reside at 207 Mixon Drive, about 30 seconds from the proposed subdivision. I rise before you tonight to discuss the negative issues that will be caused by this subdivision. The proposed zoning is 5 zoning categories: an agricultural district, 3 residential districts, and then a commercial district. If you think we need another more commercial district, please walk down the streets in downtown Clinton. We've got ample space for commercial development there. Trafficability. Yes, I believe that the plan supports turn lanes into Cambridge Farms southbound, but northbound, don't believe there's any plan to widen the road, provide for passing lanes northbound. Density. We have over 2,000 approved building sites in the city of Clinton. Do we really need any more? Emergency services. If this subdivision materializes, we will need to add fire and police protection. Stormwater management. Bush River is inundated with flooding now. When the subdivision is built and the property is denuded, the runoff will be significant. Yes, it can be designed for a 100-year flood, but that doesn't mean there won't be a 500 or 1,000-year flood back to back. I prefer that the property remain timberland and undisturbed, but that's not within my purview. I just don't support this annexation as it stands. You must make an informed decision, and I'm sure you will. Just think about this. If this subdivision was proposed in your neighborhood, would you be in favor of the annexation? I surely hope not. And in conclusion, I would request tonight, strongly request and recommend that you table this action for the following reasons. Would you table it till you have all the facts? Secondly, until all council members can be present and cast their vote. And until litigation has been completed between Lawrence County and the developer. Thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate the process. Might not agree with what's going on, but I appreciate the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Betsy Washam.
Hello, I'm Betsy Washam. I live on Nottingham Road, and I address you tonight as elected governmental gatekeepers of Clinton. Your job is to guard what comes into Clinton and protect the community from harm. I quote from one of you sitting board members from a recent publication. We're seeing new housing developments and some industrial expansion, but it's important that we grow in a way that enhances employment opportunities and quality of life for all citizens. Simply adding businesses or residences isn't enough. We need to make decisions today that will set Clinton up for success. not just the next few years, but for future generations, end quote. My question is, will Cambridge Farm enhance quality of life or simply add residencies? Will Cambridge Farm will it bring a generational type of living or temporary stay? I have been surveying our community and talking personally to residents. I have met, for example, 5 households who have moved here in the last year to get away from the situation this developer is trying to impose on Clinton. They came here because the Clinton community is not like Greenville, Charleston, Beaufort, and other cities that have unfettered residential expansion. These people all seem to be solid folks who want to put down roots, stay in Clinton, and enhance it. None of them live in houses or on small lots like this developer wants you to agree to. Are we setting Clinton up for success? That's the question tonight. Consider carefully the impact, your legacy. This decision will impact at least a generation out, whom each of you may long be gone from. So I thank you for your time, and I ask that you also consider taking the information and your experience from other housing projects that have gone on in Clinton and applying that to this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Tommy Pinson.
Thank you. My name is Tommy Pinson. I live out in Mary Oaks. My family's been here for 46 years now, moved up from Georgia. When we came into town, there was no housing available, but plenty of industry. Right around now, we have very little industry. Our streets are empty almost, with empty buildings, but we got plenty of housing. Any neighborhood you want to go into is empty and has housing available. I ask you to take a good hard look at what we need in the city of Clinton and in here in Laurens County as far as what is really good for the people here in town. The idea of putting 450 houses into a neighborhood when there's already plenty available just does not seem what we need at this time. The last time I was here, we were talking about if we made everything R1. Now all of a sudden we're talking about R1, R2, R3, and commercial. Sooner or later we have to make a decision. What is really needed for the city? Is it more housing, or is it something else where we can provide more for our residents? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Michael Corley.
Good evening. My name is Michael Corley. I'm a Clinton native, but also the Deputy Director of the South Carolina Environmental Law Project, which is an organization that, among other things, works statewide to ensure the lawful functioning of land use decisions. The question I would pose to you all tonight is, what does this project mean for the relationship between the city and the county? And I ask that because, of course, this is not the first time you've been presented with this project. It's been before you previously. So what happened? Well, what happened is the developer made the conscious decision to stop pursuing city approval and the city process in favor of pursuing county approval and the county process. That was his choice. The developer chose the county approval process, and that gamble did not pay off. This subdivision was unanimously denied by the Laurens County Planning Commission. Can you believe that? Unanimously denied. In my line of work, I wish I saw that more often. Do you know how many projects are proceeding in the county right now? They're everywhere. All of those proceeding with no problem. This one unanimously denied. So what did the developer then do in response to that denial? What he did was sue the county. Sued the county because he didn't agree with the decision. And by doing that, chose to continue the county process. chose to continue pursuing the county approval by his own choice, by filing this lawsuit. That lawsuit, the one that he chose to file, is still pending. Whatever lawyer talk you may hear tonight, whatever kind of obfuscation you may try to hear of the basic facts, look up the docket number in the Court of Appeals. His case that he chose to file about the county process is still pending, which means that the county process he chose to pursue is ongoing. So in light of those things, I have to wonder, what are we doing here in the room tonight? Is the city really willing to step in and save this developer from those choices he made to pursue the county process at the cost of treading all over the county's authority? There's already an answer to that question, though, and you have to look no further than the comprehensive plan that you all just issued, just went out to the public, hasn't even had a chance to be effective yet. And that comprehensive plan is supposed to guide the future of Clinton, which I am very excited about. But if it's going to guide the future of Clinton, we can't ignore it before it even has a chance to take action, which is what is called for tonight. Because what that comprehensive plan says, specifically in relation to annexation, okay, quote, coordination with Lawrence County will be critical in managing growth along the city's fringe. Coordination with Lawrence County along the fringe. It also says the comprehensive plan urges a collaborative approach to development. Collaborative approach. It urges says that county coordination is essential. Does the action requested of you today reflect, quote, coordination with the county? Does the action requested of you today reflect a collaborative approach with the county? Clearly it doesn't, because if you advance this annexation, you're invalidating the county process, the county approval that the developer himself chose to pursue.
Thank you, Mr. Corley.
Respect the county, respect the comp plan, defer this action.
Thank you.
Miss Teresa Corley.
I'm not as smart as the last Corley, I'll go ahead and tell you. I live in the neighborhood across Highway 56 from the proposed development. I'm very opposed to the development. I realize that Clinton needs to grow, but realistically, is this the right way to go? I've been to every meeting concerning the proposed development. At every meeting, we've heard about their traffic study and how few cars come down Highway 56 in a day. I do not know who or when this study was done. I've lived there 42 plus years and I have never seen a traffic study being conducted. I've also talked to some neighbors and nobody else has seen one happen either. Today I decided to do my own traffic study. I sat in a parking lot on Highway 56 for 1 hour sweating it up. From 12:16 to 1:15 p.m. 444 cars and 37 18-wheelers, a lot of them were from Georgia, passed by. I have a tally sheet right here that I'll gladly share with you. That is a far cry from the count that they have given you. I could tell you that I am thin, young, and beautiful, but we all know it ain't so. Do a traffic study yourself. Don't do it in the middle of the night like they must have done. We want and need growth, but please be considerate of the lifelong residents of this community. I want Clinton to be a place that I tell people I'm from and say it with pride. I always have. Please do what you know is right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nick Nichols.
I want to give you all a copy of the 2019.
Just give that to Miss Lewis, and she'll pass it out to us.
There we go. There's plenty of them. Which I think is still in effect. It states in there on wetlands on page 21 and 22 that before any activity takes place on property, either the maps or personnel from the Corps of Engineers should be consulted. Because of the position of the city along ridges between two drainage basins, the only area with flood potential are along Bush River and Shell Creek. Controlling this development is the potential dangerous areas would benefit the citizens of Clinton. I think yesterday we had a little over 2 inches of rain, and the citizens of Clinton felt development with Shell Creek Manor. I think Calvert Avenue got flooded a little bit yesterday. Well, I know it did. We were out riding after the storm. So, and there's no rooftops down there yet. But when there's rooftops down there, and you put 500 plus rooftops on Bush River, and Shell Creek dumps into Bush River, then it's gonna be a problem. So, before you vote, yes, please have this study, call these folks, and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Charlotte Strickland.
I'm Charlotte Strickland. I'm a native Clintonian, and after much research done by many citizens, I'd like to share some alarming inaccuracies that developer Patrick McNair made at the Planning Commission meeting last month. He walked the commission through a Lexington neighborhood he presented as his own work. My partner and I built this neighborhood, and this is what we did, citing it as the model for Cambridge Homes. The pin location on Long Ridge Drive is the Stanley Martin Homes community in Lexington, which Veranda has no affiliation with. According to the Stanley Martin Homes website, they are the developers for Longview subdivision, which Patrick McNair claims is his own. Patrick and his partner once worked for Stanley Martin Homes before starting Veranda. According to the Veranda website, Veranda Homes was founded in 2024, and this is confirmed by the South Carolina Patent Office. Veranda's own website history page makes no claim of founding in 1993, as he stated at the last meeting. They describe partnering with local developers. I suspect that this is what we might get here. As of 2 years ago, they were operating in the red, and when he was questioned about that, he skirted around the issue, saying that all companies are in the red their first year. But he had previously said they had been in operation since 1993. He went on and on about this being his development. Longview, that he claimed as his project, was begun in 2015 by Essex Home and was purchased by Stanley Martin Homes in 2020. Patrick McNair and his partner once worked for Essex Homes. There's no mention of Patrick in Longview's recorded chain of title. I've heard a planning commission member and a council member say that people in these surrounding neighborhoods on 56 don't live in the city limits and they don't matter. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but I want to remind y'all, there's not one department head that works for this city that lives in the city limits. That's including our city manager. Many of them live out of town or even out of the county. That's who's running our city. Of course these citizens matter. These are Clintonians too. They're our friends, neighbors, and co-workers. Many have lived in this area for 50 or 60 years. They go to church here, they send their kids to school here, they shop here. They aren't commuters who will be living in this development. They will not be leaving Clinton to go to work and then come back home. The Mary Oaks residents buy their power and water from the city and pay 1.5 times the water that we pay. Our comprehensive plan states that neighborhoods are to reflect established development patterns within the city. States that you are to prevent overcrowding and avoid undue concentration of population and congestion. This project goes against everything in the comprehensive plan. I urge you to vote no for annexation and against this Veranda project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Nancy Garrison.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Garrison, and I'm here because I've experienced firsthand what can happen when stormwater is not adequately managed during the construction of a large development. Several years ago, a subdivision started the process of being built beside my property. Once the land was cleared and the vegetation removed, it didn't take major storm. It was modest rainfall, sometimes only an inch or two, to send muddy stormwater sediment onto our property. South Carolina DHEC, now the Department of Environmental Services, cited that project twice for sediment entering the waters of the state. My family ultimately filed a lawsuit and we prevailed, but I can assure you that no lawsuit ever makes up for months of damage to your property. Prevention is far better than trying to repair the damage afterward. The reason I share that experience is because the same engineering firm that designed that project is involved in the proposed Cambridge development. I am not here to say history will repeat itself, but I'm here to say that my experience gives me every reason to ask this council to carefully examine the stormwater design and downstream impacts before moving forward. We also know stormwater is becoming a growing regional concern. The state of South Carolina has recognized that rapid development and population growth have increased stormwater runoff to the point of existing culverts in the northern part of Lawrence County are being overwhelmed, requiring major public investment to replace them. They should remind us that growth has consequences when our infrastructure can't keep up with the pace. This project drains toward Shell Creek and ultimately Bush River. Those waterways deserve every protection we can give them. I respectfully ask you to ensure that stormwater design, erosion and sediment controls, downstream impact analysis, and all environmental reviews are complete before approving annexation. My experience has taught me one lesson. Once the damage is done, it is too late to wish more questions had been asked beforehand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Claire Young. Claire Young.
Hey there, my name's Claire Young. I live on Young Road. I just relocated back here from Charleston, South Carolina, and I don't think too much explanation needs to be told as to why I relocated back here from Charleston, because they have this problem 100-fold. I just, I could echo everything that everybody else has said about traffic, about stormwater, about where are all these children, 500 new homes, are they gonna go to Clinton High School? Are we gonna increase the amount of teachers we have? I just want everybody to think about the quality of life. I think our quality of life in Clinton has been wonderful. My family's owned a farm here since 1779, and I would really love for my family in the future to enjoy the same rural life and beauty of this city that I have enjoyed growing up, and so glad and proud to return to. So I just want you to consider the quality of life for everybody, and I appreciate you. I would encourage you to vote no on the Cambridge as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Woody Robinson.
Hello, I'm Woody Robinson, live in Mary Oaks, and my husband Shep is speaking after me. And before Shep discusses some financial projections, he wanted me to share a few things about Veranda. During the past few weeks, Shep has personally visited all of Veranda's current projects in Greenville, Columbia, Fountain Inn, and Great Park market areas. The Veranda projects are typically small, 20 to 50 unit/houses, and do not compare at all to what would be required at Cambridge Farms. Veranda has squeezed in as many houses/townhouses as they can in their existing developments. Most of Veranda's developments are infill developments and are not large residential suburban neighborhoods. Foxbank in Graycourt is a large residential development. It's important to note that Veranda is purchasing roughly 30 of the finished lots with plans to build houses on the lots. Veranda did not work on the horizontal lot development. At these projects, Veranda has not done any extensive horizontal development similar to what would be required at Cambridge Farms. Nothing indicates that they have the expertise to successfully manage this type of project, which includes 490 home sites, 7 retention ponds, wetlands mitigation, and roughly 2 miles of road construction over hilly, rocky terrain. Carl Haslinger, the CEO of Veranda, seems to be the principal who may have more experience with horizontal land development versus any Veranda employee. Given the fact that Cambridge Farms is significantly larger than any other Veranda project and that it would require substantial capital to fund, we would have expected Carl to be actively involved. However, Haslinger has not participated in any of the other Planning Commission, City Council, or County Council public meetings. Where is Carl? How involved will he be in this project? Who at Veranda has the expertise to execute a major project like Cambridge Farms? Thank you to each one of you for your service. I respectfully ask you to vote no tonight. I know the city needs the impact fees, but as Shep will show next, this project will not produce the fees it promises. Please consider shifting the focus to bringing businesses and industries to Clinton to offer jobs to our current residents and those coming to the 22 homes already committed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shep Robinson.
Thank you, Woody. It has been mentioned frequently during this process that the math does not add up. In recent weeks, I've analyzed the math based on the available public information and on reasonable, supportable assumptions. I generated 2 profit loss scenarios. My assumptions include the following. Land development cost of $42 million or $86,000 a lot. These costs are based on the developer's stated infrastructure cost at the Planning Commission meeting of $30 million plus $2.5 million in estimated land acquisition cost, a $3 million contingency, $6 million in interest carry, and $500,000 for various fees. The home building costs are based on published data containing the average building cost per square foot for a standard mid-range home located in South Carolina in 2026. Scenario number 1 uses the developer's estimated selling prices as stated at the PC meeting, which were $300,000 for the R3 homes, $350,000 for the R2 homes, and $450,000 for the R1 homes. Scenario 2 uses selling prices based on sales comp and market data in Clinton. There are no sales comps in Clinton which support the developer's estimates. The prices used in this scenario are $245,000 for the R3 homes, $260,000 for the R2, and $350,000 for the R1. The results of this analysis are staggering. Under scenario number 1, which uses these developers' estimated selling cost, the projected loss is $37.9 million. Under scenario 2, which uses more conservative selling prices, the projected loss is $75.4 million. Obviously, the math really does not add up. This project does not make economic sense. Under both of these scenarios, the city of Clinton would suffer financially, and the Clinton community would likely be forced to look at a failed, uncompleted project for many years. I've left copies of my analysis right here for everybody. If anybody wants a copy of my Excel spreadsheet, let me know. Thank you all for your service, and respectfully ask you to vote no tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley Martin.
Hello, my name is Ashley Martin, and I live at 106 Shell Creek Court. I also own the building at 107 East Main Street of Clinton. First, I'd like to talk about this project in the sense of it's bounced back and forth from the city to the county, and like Ms. Corley, I've been at almost every meeting. What you said last year when you denied this project was that it had to be R1 only. That is not the project being presented today. The neighborhood around this, including the neighborhood that I live in, has large lots, and I know everyone doesn't want a large lot, and it has traditionally built homes. They are spread out. That is not what this community that they plan to build is. 500 homes in one spot is not growth. That's plopping another small town on the outskirts of ours. Recently, I've heard multiple people say, we need affordable housing. And exactly what Shep just said. Our median income, household income in Clinton is $44,522. Who will be purchasing that as an affordable home if that is what we need? Recently, I listened to Jeff Siegler and sat in a Zoom meeting. He is the revitalize or die person.
I want to read what he recently posted. He said, "We know what people want, so why don't they get it? 3 reasons. 1, I think hits the nail on the head. Low standards. Communities say yes to bad projects because they're afraid nothing better will come along. So they keep accepting less, and that's why things keep getting worse. 2, no actions. Plans and studies are worthless without swift implementation, just as Michael Corley said with our new plan. No vision. Cities aren't outcome-oriented. They're process-driven. Every department does its own thing with no overarching vision of what the place should actually become. Fix these 3 things, and the rest will fall in place." Thank you.
Thank you.
Brenda Stewart.
Thank you. I'm a 35-year resident of Mary Oaks, and I know many of you appreciate your service. The developer keeps telling you and everyone else that the lots meet R1 size. Size was never the issue with this. R1 requires 70 feet of frontage. He's asking for RS2 and RS3 so he can build on 50. What 50 lots gets him is a lot smaller lot, but not similar to the ones in the surrounding property. Going from 70 feet to 50 puts about 29% more houses on every foot of road and pipe he has to build. His cost goes down, nothing gets better for the neighborhood. In 2025, your own planning commission said no, and please come back to us with R1. Now he's back with R1, RS2, RS3, commercial, and ag. That's not the same. Also, through a FOIA request, I have reviewed the Planning Commission training records. 3 of the 7 members have no proof of the 6-hour requirement and orientation training required by state law in order to sit. No certificate, no transcript. All 3 of their forms carry signature dates that have not yet occurred. October 26, November 26, and one was even signed, hand-signed, August 11, 2028. Go figure. 3 of your 7 commissioners appear to be out of compliance with the requirements, but they're voting on things as important as this. That seems really wrong. At the July 14th, after the vote was taken, and the July 14th vote was taken without an answer to an important question. One of the commissioners asked the applicant about a development in Gray Court. You heard about it recently or earlier, that damaged a neighbor's property. When he was asked if that was his property, he said no, but that was an error of omission because standing next to him was a representative from Blue Water Civil Engineering, and they were on that project. And that's what the commissioner meant, I know, because I met with him the day before. So I wrote a note and I gave it to the city planner, and I asked him to please let this be a point of clarification before the vote. I went up again and asked him to please do that before the vote. It was not provided to them until after adjournment. I wonder why. Lastly, I am also submitting tonight to the clerk a petition against this development signed by nearly 500 people, all of which are City of Clinton utility customers. Some of us outside the city limits, we actually get to pay more. I saw my bill this week, trust me. This is an important decision and not one you should make lightly. There are loopholes all day long. They're going to try and plug some of those tonight, but there are genuine answers you need to get, and I implore you to please look at your own planning documents and vote no tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe this is Betsy McKay.
McKinney.
Thank you for having this hearing. I appreciate it. There have been many concerns, valid concerns expressed, and I won't reiterate on those. I'm just mentioning this from a common sense standpoint. The outline plan, which is all we've had to go on, simply does not add to our neighborhoods the right housing plan. There's simply too many houses planned on too small an acreage, and that simply will not work. There's nothing more sad than a failed shopping center or a failed project. And I encourage you to consider the validity of what's being proposed and to use your wisdom to make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's all, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes all of our folks that have signed up. I appreciate everybody's comments and certainly your passion and your thoughts and the research that's been done. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the July 6th, 2026 council meeting. And we will entertain a motion to approve those minutes. That's the will of this group.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Smith, second from Mr. Kirkendall. Any questions or comments? Any corrections, additions, deletions? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the minutes are approved. Okay, we've got two proclamations. And one is we're going to proclaim August as Clinton Goes Back to School Month in the city of Clinton. And I'm very thankful for this because I got 3 grandchildren that have been in my house all summer. So it's a wonderful day tomorrow. Also August as Connecting Cops to Communities Month in the city of Clinton. And I'll entertain a motion to make these proclamations if that's the will of this group.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Cook, second from Ms. Cogswell. Any questions or comments? Okay, if not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no, and we are so proclaimed. Okay, Mr. Metters.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. The next item on the agenda is for council to consider first reading of an ordinance to amend the City of Clinton zoning ordinance, single-family residence as permitted use in the RMH zoning district. Mr. Lindler discovered recently that we have 2 properties, 2 subdivisions, Hampton Woods and Copeland Estates that it was originally called. I think it's known as Blossom Meadows now. This is up behind the old, Blossom Meadows is up behind the old Hardee's restaurant on Highway 76. And those were permitted for single-family homes in the RMH zoning, and they were assumed that possibly that the single-family homes were allowed in there with mobile homes. That's what RMH is, the mobile home zoning. So Mr. Lindler has put together information to take this RMH zoning and add the single family to it, since that's what is actually there now. And he is here if you have any questions pertaining to this.
Okay, thank you. Let's get a motion so we can put it on the floor for discussion. Have a motion from Ms. Walsh.
Second.
Is there a second from Mr. Kirkendall? Okay, questions or comments? You don't feel.
So I'm a little confused now. I know now that you described them where they were. There's actually mobile homes in those areas? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. Originally, Copeland Estates was set up for mobile homes, and that's what went there originally.
And that, what was the date of that? Do you know?
Mr. Kirkendall, that was probably back in 2000s in that neighborhood.
Okay.
There's 2 local gentlemen started that
Okay.
up there next to Copeland Plaza.
So they're in the city limits.
They are in the city limits, and they were zoned for mobile homes.
So since we changed our ordinance of no more mobile homes in the city, and I forget when we did that. These would have been grandfathered in?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And after that time, there were another couple of developers came in and wanted to build single-family homes there, which their single-family homes there now. And hence the name was changed to Blossom Meadows. So we want to clarify and correct the RMH in those areas to allow single-family homes, and they correspond with the RMH plus the single-family homes in those two areas now.
That doesn't open us up for any more mobile homes there, is what I'm trying to clarify.
Well, with it being zoned that, yes, you can put another mobile home there. But
But this-
the mobile homes are already in the area. There's not a lot left in Blossom Meadows or Copeland Estates, but with it being zoned that way and having single family there also, that's the best way to handle this situation.
Were you asking if that changes?
Yes.
It doesn't change that, does it? Like you're currently allowed to put
They're
mobile homes there.
And it's still zoned, and you correct me if I'm wrong, there you are, that the RMH, the mobile homes, will be allowed also with single-family housing.
But you're currently allowed to do that under the current zoning?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm totally confused. I thought our ordinance was that, and I forget when we passed this ordinance, but it's been during my seat on council, that we would not, in the city limits, allow another mobile home to be put in city of Clinton city limits. If there were ones already in place, that was okay, but no more additions.
That's not what this ordinance before you tonight has anything really to do with.
Okay.
Specifically, what this ordinance is saying is that you currently, in your RMH zone, you allow for duplexes, you allow for multifamily residential, you allow for civic buildings, and you allow for mobile and manufactured homes. It doesn't say anything about residential single family. In the intent of the RMH zone, it says it is intended to accommodate manufactured housing development in concert with conventional dwellings. So your intent of the district is to allow for single family and manufactured homes. When you go into the details of the section, it doesn't allow for single family homes. So this would allow for single family homes in addition to the existing uses in that zone, as we have allowed apparently in the past. So this is clarifying the situation.
So you're saying as it's written right now, a single family home is not supposed to be there?
We cannot permit by ordinance a single family home on a property that's zoned RMH.
And that's what that zone is right now?
Correct. That would allow us to allow for a
Do
single
you
family.
know how many single family homes are there now?
There are a number in those two areas that Mr.
So how
Meadows.
did that take place? I mean, where are we?
I don't know if the ordinance has been changed at a later time after permitting, or if those have been permitting in error. I can't determine that.
So there's probably as many single family homes as trailers there at this time.
But if you make this change, then all of those technically non-conforming single-family homes will become conforming.
My question is, will they be R1s, R2s, R3s inside the mobile home zoning? What will they be?
They would be RMH, so it would be the standards that are allowed under the RMH.
So a single-family home can be built and designated as an RMH?
If we
The
vote
property
yes.
is already designated.
I understand that, but I'm
Yes.
saying future homes. We can't do anything about the ones there now, but we have ordinances on the books now and zoning. So what if another single-family home is to be built in there? What will it follow as far as a single-family home? Will it not have any restrictions at all?
No, you already have restrictions in there that identify your minimum lot sizes, your minimum lot widths, setbacks, the height of the structure, all of that.
But that's for mobile homes.
It's for all types of uses. Civic uses, duplexes, all of that.
So are we contradicting ourselves when we talk about R1 and R2 and R3 and R2S and R3S?
No, sir. This is just an additional zone that you have available to you.
But we're building single-family resident homes in there.
There have been residential single-family homes in these two areas.
It says the minimum lot size is 5,000 in that.
Okay.
currently.
So it'd be, and it says one housing unit per lot permitted, and so that has to follow the lot permitted.
Correct, one per lot. The only thing we're adding is the allowance for a single-family home to be permitted.
Is it, am I hearing this correctly? If y'all are concerned about mobile homes, this gives each lot in there a chance to be a home instead of a mobile home.
Correct.
And if we vote no on it, technically they should only put mobile homes in MH.
Or a duplex.
Or
a multifamily.
Or a
Right.
civic building.
Correct.
Any other questions? Does everybody have their questions answered?
No.
Okay.
Keep going, we're okay. We're okay,
Well,
Gary.
We ready to vote?
I clearly understand that some time back, we had an ordinance for the city of Clinton that no more additional mobile homes would be allowed because of the danger, the fire, everything that's associated with the safety. That was a
respond to
clear
that?
ordinance that we did.
I'm going off memory here, but I want to say you said that for different residential zones, because there were some mobile homes in R1,
There were some,
R2, and
yeah.
if you removed one, they're grandfathered, but if you removed it, you could
You
not
couldn't
bring
go back
one
in with one,
but-
that's correct.
But you have a zone for mobile homes specifically, and that does allow for a mobile home to be brought in if it meets certain age requirements. I think it's five, it has to be 5 years.
5 years, that's right.
But that's within your mobile home zoning classification. So you have that, and it does allow for that to be brought in.
So it doesn't allow for old mobile homes to be
Correct.
brought in, it allows for the ones that have been 5 years or,
Yeah, and I think what Mr. Kirkendall is remembering is that you did put a stop to bringing mobile homes back into the different residential zoning classifications.
Whether they
were
be
not
new
mobile
or
homes.
old.
That's correct.
There's only a handful of these.
Yeah, how many RMH zones are there, do you know, Mr. Wyman?
Well, there's North Broad, there's 2 mobile home parks there. Trying to remember from memory. There's one down on West Centennial Street. And then those 2 that were started out there.
And so this is limited to those areas that
Yes.
are already zoned, and then it would be up
Unless
to
some-
this council or future councils if you were to annex something to change the zoning, but under your intention, and mine as well, we would not be adding more
That's right.
RMH.
That's
Yes.
right.
But Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, if someone were to come in to the planning commission and want to have another mobile home park, we do have that RMH that they could take a look at.
Right.
Whether they approved it or not, that would be left to the planning commission.
Right.
Because the zoning is there.
okay. We ready to vote on first reading? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is for council to consider first reading of an ordinance for annexation of contiguous real property in the corporate city limits of Clinton, located at the intersection of South Carolina Highway 56 and Cambridge Road, identified as Lawrence County Tax Map numbers 617-00-00-028, 617-00-00-015, and 617-00-00-016.
Okay, so this is recommendation from staff, and it comes as approval from the planning commission. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so to get this on the table for discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved?
Have a motion from Ms. Walsh.
Second.
Second from Mr. Smith. Okay, now, we're gonna get some information to start on that now, so let's.
Can I add
Sure.
a motion?
No, we've got
We've
this
already got
motion
it.
on the table, yeah.
Okay.
No, we're not gonna do that. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you? Well, I can safely say I'm not here asking for RMH zoning, so I'm confused. But my name's Patrick McNair, and I just thought I'd start out. We've got a presentation here. I think y'all have it as well on the TV. I will try to move through it quickly. I know it's already been presented to the Planning Commission. I know
They're moving, but we've got it.
Yeah, you can move it. You can move it that way. We have it in front of us.
No, we've got it on our TV.
Turn it toward the audience.
There you go.
We've got little screens up here.
So I thought, I'd start with at least introducing our team. I think I missed doing that in the Planning Commission. And, I know there's been some questions on, our ability to execute developments or maybe our resume. And so I'll just give you a quick introduction of the team. So myself, Patrick McNair, president of Brand Homes, and co-owner with my business partner, Carl Hassinger, who is here, by the way. And so, I started in development with my family. My father, uncle, grandfather developed the state of South Carolina my entire life. That's what we did. I moved into sales and then into a position of the head of finance, where for Carl, I ran underwriting, reporting, and banking relationships, securing funding for major projects like this one for years. So I'm very familiar with how to fund these and am open to any questions on that, because that's what I did for a long time. During that process, secured almost $200 million in bank funding, which gave Essex the fuel to grow to a top 50 builder in the United States, built by this guy here. And I'll get more on Carl in a second. At that point, Essex Homes was purchased by Stanley Martin, so there was a comment on Stanley Martin finishing Longview. That is correct. It was the back end of Longview, but it was all developed and started by this group and Essex Homes, which he owned. At that time, we were purchased, and Carl and I became executives at Stanley Martin Homes, which is a national home builder, which we did learn a lot from. I had the privilege of becoming the youngest executive in Stanley Martin history by 2 decades. That was a nod from a president of that company that has been in home building his entire life, who trusted that I could run an operation, run projects like this. And we did. And actually, we took the division that I took over in the market, which was here in the upstate, from last place in the company to first place in the entire nation in the company under my leadership. Major projects that I developed ranging to 400 to 500 lots. There were some questions on that. In a 4-year span, Bridgeport, Parkland, and the Hamptons. You can look that up on Stanley Martin's website. No, I did not own that company, but I was the division president. I did underwrite those. I did stand in front of councils just like this and develop and see those through. Bridgeport's 500 lots in the center of Greenville. A very complicated development we executed, and is now the best-selling neighborhood in the entire upstate for all builders. And we did execute that well. Projects overseen, underwritten, and obtained funding for. Longview is one of them. Yes, we were the team that did that. Carl Hassinger, Frank Berry is in the room. He was the head of development for that project. We were Essex Homes. He owned it. We worked for it. And Chapin Place, Sparrow Lake, over 20 projects in the 100 to 300 lot range. Also, I'm on the Homeowners Association board here locally, and have won Builder of the Year 3 different times at 3 different operations. Look, I don't say that to bang on my chest. That's about as far as you're going to hear me talk about me. I think there was some mention of, do we have the resume? And I'm just trying to introduce the people you have here so you at least understand, because you don't know us from Adam, right? My goal in these meetings, my goal and what I've done in the past, we're a local home builder. There are 2 local home builders I can count in this state that have the ability to execute a development like this, and we're one of them. And at the end of the day, we're not here to be the rest of the guys. I know there's comments, look at the other builders, look at what they've done. Our entire mission I'd still be working in a national home builder right now if that's what I wanted to do, right? Our entire mission is to bring back the reputation that Essex Homes had, which was the local builder of choice that built a better home and did a better job. And anyone during that period from 1993 to 2020 in which Essex Homes was operated and owned by this guy right here, that sold homes or was around it, will confirm that was the mission and the motto. And that's what we're here to do. And so most cities, municipalities I walk into welcome us with open arms because we are willing to build a better product. We do live here. We are local. You don't have to call DC or Texas to go and get an answer about it. That's not right. It's right here. We're here. And so our goal is to build something better. And I'm going to show you that in the site plan. Another person introduced, Frank Berry. It's been in development since 1992. He was the head of development. He's back there in the corner. He's going to raise his hand. He was head of development for the Longview project and many, many others. Started as an engineer. Moved into development in 2005, responsible for the development of over 4,000 lots and oversaw developers on far more. So yes, like the Fox Bank project, we are buying lots from them, or not the developer. Most home builders of any size do not develop every single project they have. They balance the portfolio, right? We're going to develop some, there's some benefit to that, right? In the right areas with the right project, we're going to do that. Some, we have good development relationships and we buy lots from them. He's also the chair of Planning Commission in the town of Lexington and has been part of municipal planning and planning commission since 2003. So we do have somebody on our staff with very good knowledge of what y'all do. And by the way, appreciate what y'all do. I know none of this is easy, no matter what questions get asked of me, no matter what your decision is. I know this is all tough, and so I appreciate what you do. Carl Hassinger. Carl started building homes in 1986. He started Essex in 1993. He made it through 2008 without any layoffs. I don't know another builder that did that. We talk about failed developments, a company that's going to have a failed development. That guy right there made it through 2008 without layoffs. That's pretty strong. He grew Essex to be a top 50 builder in the United States across 2 states, 5 markets, selling over 1,000 homes a year. He did sell to Stanley Martin Homes, became a regional president and executive there for years. He's experienced in development, home building, developmental funding. Fun fact about him, he's actually a nuclear engineer, so he's way smarter than I am, so I don't know why I'm here talking. And has been on the state housing board for 4 years. So he has given back to the state in that regard. And so there's a lot of work that goes into that. And also I have Heath Davis, 8 years of commercial development across 2 states, has been on the economic development board for Greenwood for almost 3 years, was the chair of government relations for Greenwood. He is local, and his team has been developing and contracting subdivisions for 30 years. So all that to say, I think I might have failed in introducing our team in Planning Commission. I know there's been a lot of questions around, can we do it? Do we know what we're doing? And I at least want to answer that, right? And so with that said, and I'll let people say some things at the end of this, but I'm going to run you through here and try to get you through a little quicker than I did in planning, so for everybody's time. All right, Cambridge Farms. We can go to the next slide if you don't mind. Location, Highway 56, right next to the Ingalls. I think everybody's pretty familiar with the location. That's been explained many times. We can go to the next slide. So the first plan we brought, yes, we did bring a plan to the city. That original plan was 607 lots. One of the biggest things that was brought up in that meeting was the fact that in the R3 classification we were asking for, there was concern on multifamily, and totally understand that, right? I have no desire to do that here. Really, we want to make our name off of being the single-family home builder. You know, like many builders, we've had to go in and build some townhome neighborhoods in certain areas, but that is not our bread and butter. And if you looked at our backlog, what's coming, not what's on our website, you'll see it's mostly stuff like this, because that's where we want to make our name. We're not going to make our name against, I'm not going to mention the big national names that are in town, going against them cost by cost. That's not how we do it, right? We have to be better. We have to build better. We have to have a better name and have better subdivisions, or we won't compete. They build 90,000 homes a year. We'll never compete with that, right? So we have to be better. We have to build better. And so we didn't have any intention on multifamily. And so R3S zoning was created. That's great. We saw that opportunity in R2S. And so It actually fit the bill even better for us because we had no desire to go multifamily. And so with that, and also on this version that we brought you last time, we only had a clubhouse and a pool, so I'm gonna point that out and explain why later. So we were, at the time, we can go to the next slide, please. At the time, we were, well, we are, I guess, in the county and zoned by right. We took this site plan, which is 523 lots, so a little less, to the county, which is effectively R1, R2, and R3, if you can see the color coordination there. And we did receive a staff approval letter that said that we were approved by the ordinances, by the law, publicly posted. And you guys know the rest of the story. And if we need questions answered on that, I know that in planning there's some questions around me not being an attorney, and I am not. So first to admit that. We did bring our attorney, Robert Bonds here, was on the actual case. And so he's an attorney that actually sat in the courtroom, actually knows all the facts. And so if you have any questions on it, our whole team is here to answer questions for y'all. And so I just want to bring somebody that's more credible than me, so on that. And so if we just go to the next slide, go to the next, I think everybody knows the outcome. So the new proposed city plan. Look, Patrick, if the judge overturned the order and you have a vested and approved site plan per judge order and can go forward, why are you here? Probably a valid question that you might ask me already, so I'll throw it out there. Look, I have worked with the city for over 1.5 years on this project. I said earlier, we're a local builder that makes our name on relationships and building better neighborhoods and better homes. This housing development right here is right on the border of the city. This project can do a lot of great things for the city that I'll list out on another slide. And I think I'd be remiss to not come back to the city who has worked with me, I've had meetings with, right? Ask for feedback on what the city would want to bring it into the city and let the city get the revenue and the benefit from it, because we don't plan on this being our last community in Clinton. We're the South Carolina, we're a local South Carolina builder, and we're gonna make our name on building throughout South Carolina. And we do, we build in 5 markets in South Carolina. Some of the things we added to this, other than reducing lots of what we could go do with 523 lots, we added an 11-acre Central Park amenity that was not on what you saw the first time, and it was also not on the county plan that is approved. We also have the pool and the amenity, and we reduced lots, and we added in the commercial. Why did we add in the commercial? We've had meetings with the city, with citizens. We have had meetings with some citizens, have meetings with staff, different members of commission, etc. Not to be underhanded, but to ask, what does the city want? And the thing that I heard over and over again was that the city wants better restaurants, grocery stores, nice boutique retail. And that's what we intend to do there. That's why I put that there. I'm not a commercial developer. That is not what I do. My grandfather was, but I am not. And so because of that, I brought in an experienced commercial developer. But the kind of site plan we could do is all residential because that's who we are. We're a residential home builder. But we added that because we had heard so much feedback that residents wanted restaurants and grocery stores, maybe daycare. And so that's why that was added in there. With that, the zoning R1, those lots are bigger than the current R1 lot minimum. R1 lot minimum 7,500 square feet. Those are 10,500 square feet. R2S, those are 8,700 square foot lots. R3S, 7,500 square foot lots. Small commercial parcel, and then the AR zoning is for the current home. It just, you know, that's not going to go with the development. We're going to have walking trails, sidewalks, major amenities with a central park, an athletic field, fire pit, playgrounds. Put in a lot of infrastructure to make sure this is something nice, because what we would like this to be is, I can promise you, there is nothing like that. And I'm building and I have land throughout Lawrence County. There's nothing like that in Lawrence County right now. And there are a lot of jobs coming. With that kind of amenity, with those size lots, there's not. So to me, I see this as a destination community. And that's what we're trying to build here. Next slide. So why R2S and R3S? So one quote in the comp plan, so I heard, hey, stick with the comp plan a lot tonight. I would encourage that. If you look at the section we're in, we're actually bringing in a lesser density than what the use says is called for in that area. So I would stick with the comp plan. I agree. Everybody came and said that. So residential growth and housing diversity is a quote from the comp plan. Planned residential development highlights the need for additional housing capacity. This is the city's comp plan. I didn't write this. The need for additional housing capacity and a broader range of housing types. Would going in and putting in 500 of the same type house accomplish that? I think it would, right? And here's the reasoning that we're asking for R2S and R3S. Yes, it is the lot width. Yes, if you see on this exhibit, if I have a 70-foot wide lot, I have to eat 70 feet of very expensive infrastructure, which is roads, curb, gutter, sewer, water lines, a lot of things, right? So when you look at the R3S, we'll start there. That section, I believe your emergency services personnel should be able to live in a neighborhood that's nice like that. And that addresses the need for additional housing capacity in a broader range of housing types. Well, at the end of the day, and not just them, teachers, right? Anyone who is looking for an affordable new single-family home with warranties in a nice neighborhood with big amenities, if I eat an additional 20 feet of all of those infrastructures, all the infrastructure into that lot, that is going to add to the cost of the home, and that buyer is very sensitive on payment and might not qualify for the home. That's the intention of it. But because of that, and because I want you to know that I'm not going to go below 7,500 square feet, there's a development agreement that's been put forth that was mentioned at planning, and that was how it was recommended and approved by planning. And I'll go through those bullet points later. But the development agreement is me saying I'm here to do what I say I'm going to do. I am not the other builders or developers who came behind me. I'm here to do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm willing to back that up with a development agreement that restricts me to where I won't go below 7,500 square feet. And by the way, if you look on the right, if I go to a 50-foot wide lot and leave it at 7,500 square feet, that's 150 feet of depth, where the people get a much bigger backyard. Do people fence in their side yard or their backyard? Their backyard. And the kids play in the backyard. They're going to get more backyard from this. Next slide. So these are our homes that'll go in the R3S. These square foot range in the low 2000s. They are bigger than what one of our competitors' neighborhoods, which if you want to run through the underwriting that was mentioned earlier, happy to do that. Was mentioned that competitors between 1,200 and 1,700 square feet. We don't have a single house in here that's that small. And that was used in the comp study to prove out the numbers, but I'm happy to run through that. So that's, and I'll say this, looking at that, hopefully you see that is our goal is nicer elevations, which create nicer streetscapes, better landscaping packages, which when you pull up through our neighborhood, you don't wonder which builder is this on the builder 100 list, right? You pull through our neighborhood and immediately know this is a Veranda Homes community, just like you did when it was an Essex Homes community. Next slide, please. So this is the R2S section. So this is a little larger house. You'll run in the mid 2000s to high 2000 square foot range. In this lot size and buyer type, which we're trying to hit multiple buyers within the city, right? You can do two things typically. It can be a first move up buyer, 2-story home, a little larger, family that's growing, right? Or it can be a move down buyer, as you see a ranch plan right there, which is our Reedy plan, which is one of our best selling homes. And is being sold. It is the model of Fox Bank. It's been mentioned. Next slide. So then we have the 52-foot plans. That is your R1. What's shown there is what's popular right now, which is the farmhouse style, but we have all kinds of different elevations, right? This is what I would call our bigger luxury home that'll run in the 3,000 to 4,000 square foot range. Next slide.
I've got a question. That would go on what with lot?
Answer. I mean, I can't. Yes, ma'am. What's the question?
Those houses would
Yes,
go on
ma'am.
what lot?
75 foot wide, ma'am.
And it's a 50
Yes, ma'am.
house?
Yes, ma'am.
So you got-
So-
Okay, let's
Okay.
keep going with the.
Yeah.
With this is
So the
not question and answer time.
due diligence materials, I actually printed them out, but I know you have them. They've been submitted to you. If anybody needed them, we do have a wetland study, and so Laura Belanger is here. Sorry, I hope I didn't screw up your last name. But she is the wetlands consultant on this project, and so I thought I'd bring her along this time. There's been a lot of questions on it, so like I said, I'm open to questions, and so please ask away. But I wanted to bring the experts, and so y'all can get the answer straight from them, and it's not just me up here talking. We have the property survey, the site plan, what you've seen, traffic study, and yes, that will be updated. So standard, anywhere in the state of South Carolina, that is not updated and reviewed typically in an annexation and zoning meeting, we update that just before the planning commission meeting for site plan approval. But we did go ahead and get one, so we were aware at least of what the impact would be, at least typically what kind of traffic improvements we would be required to do for budgeting purposes. So we do have one, and it will be updated before planning commission meeting for site plan approval. And you know, that traffic study per SCDOT, Highway 56, the capacity that Highway 56 was designed for. Right now, what's going through it, and this is not me, it's per SCDOT, is at low use right now. It is. That's not me saying. That's a governmental agency that created that. And actually, interestingly enough, right here is your comp plan, page from your comp plan. Page 7-5, figure 7.4, average annual daily traffic. You have 5 levels of traffic, and there's a circle right in front of our site. This is in the mid-level. This is the city's comp plan. And in the city's comp plan, it says, fortunately for Clinton, the town already benefits from a solid base of roadway infrastructure built over prior decades, which provides a strong foundation for mobility and connectivity. As new residential, commercial, and industrial development moves forward, future roadway construction will primarily focus on providing new access to newly developed properties or connecting internal streets rather than constructing entirely new primary thoroughfares, which applies to this because we, as the developer, will put in improvements. When new roads are created for access to new developments, these roadways are typically constructed by private developers, inspected by the local government, and then either dedicated to the city or maintained by a private entity like a homeowners association. So if you don't believe SCDOT or our traffic study engineer who is licensed, your own comp plan says it. So I'm not up here lying. So we also have a phase 1 ESA. Just to make sure the property's free of environmental hazards. We have that, we've submitted it, you have that, and utility will serve letters as well. So all that's done. Next slide, please. Benefits to the city. You know, revenue is an obvious one. You know, look, I don't have to pay $4,800 in impact fees in the county when my current site plan is approved. Do $490 times $4,800, right? If you didn't think I was here in earnest before, that's a big number. And so that revenue is obviously a big number. The tax base is a big number. You know, also the ballpark and industrial park, this will bring jobs and people no matter what, right? There's an industrial park coming, there's a ballpark coming, there's hotels in that, there's restaurants. That is going to bring people and traffic and jobs. But for the industrial park to get filled out with businesses, you're gonna need rooftops. Like I said, my grandfather was in commercial real estate my whole life. And My father and uncle did it as well. And the first question that any business or any restaurant or retailer asked when they walked in that door was, how many rooftops are around it? You're already planning for growth. It's not a question of if you are. You got an industrial ballpark, you got the industrial facility, you got all this stuff. By the way, the empty retail shops, you know how those get filled? Rooftops. That is the number one thing needed for anything commercial, business, or retail. The utilities, right now, the water capacity largely underused. I know y'all know that. So plenty of room there. Jobs, look, this improves quality of life in the fact that the average median annual income goes up with this. We create jobs with the boutique retail, right? We bring in the people that can fill the businesses that will come, right? Quality of life improves. Restaurants and grocery stores, like I said in the commercial section, we did that because we heard the citizens were asking for them. That's literally why we put that in there. And the school system right now is currently so underutilized and at risk in Clinton that if it is not filled more, it will be enveloped into Lawrence schools. That is a fact. Keep the Clinton schools the Clinton schools. And how do you do that? Rooftops, people, right? Next slide. So a lot of things were said earlier. There's been a lot of questions submitted. I'm not going to take the time to go through each one of these individually because I promised you I'd try to get through this. So just know we have a whole team here and we're here to answer any of the questions that were asked earlier. We actually welcome the questions. I've had some meetings with citizens just welcoming questions. So next slide. Why Veranda? Local ownership. And I've covered a little bit of this, so I won't spend too much time on it. We did win HBA Greenville's Builder of the Year this year. I mean, you don't do that for doing a terrible job. And a good partner for the city to grow the right way. Look, I'm telling you, I've worked in the bigger builder sphere. I know what it looks like, and I left it for a reason. What we're saying we're going to do here, we're going to do, and it will be better streetscapes and better homes. Promise that. If I can give you one promise here. We also have a local partnership with Heath Davis, who has a 10-year track record in commercial, strong financial backing with a local approach. As you can imagine, selling a top 50 builder in the United States, we are very sound in financial backing. I know there's questions on that. Happy to elaborate on that. And we have document success with neighborhoods like Longview, which was mentioned earlier. But first, before we go to the tour of Longview, and I'll leave you all with the option if you want me to tour you Longview, but go to the next slide, please. So a request for approval, what is it? So this is the request for approval that was recommended and approved by Planning Commission. And I think they did that for a reason. I think this is a better site plan for the city than what we have in the county right now. I truly do. Might be less homes for me, but it's better amenities, bigger Central Park, nice boutique retail to tie into that. I think it becomes a destination. I think it's better. And I'm willing to pay $4,800 a lot more and come into the city to do it. With that, request of R1, R2S, R3S commercial and agricultural for the home that's staying. We request approval with conditions on city council approval of development agreement with the draft has been provided. And suggested terms of that agreement. Some of the concerns on R3S, R2S, Patrick, once we do it, you can go you don't have to leave your lots at 7,500 square feet. You can go do as many as you want. So I'm going to suggest in that agreement, we'll put our money where our mouth is, and we will restrict ourselves to exactly how many lots we're presenting you today. So under no circumstance can I go higher than that. True R1, by the way, in the first year and a half ago, as mentioned, we had a presentation and showed how many lots I could get on 300 acres with True R1. It was 700. So we're asking for 490. we would like to restrict ourselves to a 7,500 square foot minimum lot size because we know that R3S and R2S allow smaller lots. So we want to restrict ourselves to that to make sure you get the lot size of R1. We will guarantee the 10+ acre central park in the community. We will guarantee the amenity package that is shown here, so you know I won't deviate from what I'm showing you and show you something and then go do something different later, right? I know you've had some experiences like that with developers and builders in the past. So putting all this on here, it's not who we are. The community will be encumbered by an HOA, and we'll guarantee that in writing. I would have done it anyways. It needs to be managed by an HOA, and we are very strict on that, all the way down to the fence types. So you can have a chain link fence, then a wood fence, then a chain, you know, I mean, we're very, very strict on our HOA. So we will make sure it's maintained through that. We will also offer a minimum of 18 feet between house pads. So one of the concerns with, I know, R3S and R2S, you don't want this to be one of those communities, and I won't name the name of the builder, where you can drive down 385 and see those houses stacked right on top of each other. I know that. Your R1 required width between homes is 15 feet. Those homes you're looking at are anywhere between 10 to 12 feet. We're going to offer 18 feet that you can handcuff us to, that I can't get out of in the development agreement, which is greater than your R1 width. It's 15. I'm offering more. And then covenants and restrictions on commercial use and type. As I mentioned earlier, homes have to come for commercial to come. Commercial wouldn't be built right away. Homes have to come. They have to see the rooftops, or you're not going to get them to come. But those homes and rooftops will get them to come, for sure. But with that said, we don't want to just build anything. And honestly, it would hurt me if I went and built retail that wasn't attractive, right? That wasn't what I'd call boutique retail, nice restaurants, or a daycare, something like that. If I built something that was an eyesore right at the front of my community, the entrance, doesn't help me at all. And so I'm going to show you I'm earnest in that. And within the development agreement submitted, we listed a long list of items of what we cannot do, even though it says in that zoning that we can. We'll take all those out. And honestly, I'm open to adding to it. Our goal is boutique retail because it helps our community. I have no reason to build anything else. It ties into our community. It needs to be nice. And so, with that said, that is our request for approval. I can take you through the long view if there's interest, or I can just stop here.
No.
Yeah.
Questions from council?
Can we go back to the R1 elevation slide? I think.
Yes, sir.
I think the question that some people may have had is how you can fit that, and I guess you're getting some from one lot. And anyway, can you explain that?
Yes. So 52 foot on 75 feet wide. By the way, R1 is 70 feet wide, so these are 75. These are wider than that. So that leaves you with, what's that, Carl? It's 23 feet. Chemical engineer. 23 feet. So we said 8. Your ordinance is 15.
23 feet on both sides, but
Total.
Yeah.
Distributed between the sides, what would happen is one house would be sitting 11.5 feet from the property line. The next house on the other lot would be sitting 11.5 feet from the property line. And so you'd have a combined 23 feet between them, although it's not all on one lot. And that would be, and the house could vary a little bit, a foot or two either way on the lot, depending on some things, but generally you have a neighborhood where the spacing between the adjacent houses is 23 feet on the average.
In the
One thing we did in Essex is we always bought bigger lots to put our houses on than our competitors did, because we liked the larger lots, and we felt like it helped our neighborhoods hold their value. And that is one thing in a neighborhood that's got a little more space between the houses, they generally do hold their value better.
and once again, 15 feet total is your R1 ordinance between the homes, not from the house to the property line, right?
So like 7.5 feet to your fence, basically.
That's your R1 zoning, right? And so what I'm saying is we're bigger than that, right? We're
Right.
23. So we're bigger than R1's width.
Mr. Mayor, I got several questions, and they're going to go to different people, so if I could kind of run through my questions, Council, I'll yield to the floor later to you guys. Right now, our C3 allows for R3 inside of a C3 by ordinance. That was not taken into consideration, to my knowledge, by Planning Commission. So I'm asking our city planner and city manager, what will need to be done to prohibit at some point in time, whether it's these current developers or someone else later down the road, from being able to go in there and put an R3 inside that C3 zone?
The development agreement they're proposing specifies that as one of the.
But that's only with this developer. If they were to sell, that development agreement doesn't necessarily carry to the next. So to me, it could change. It can go to court. It can change. I'm a banker. Things can change. Okay? It's not guaranteed forever. It can change. My question, why are we going to go against our ordinance before Planning Commission and we as a council decide not to leave that R3 inside of a C3?
By C3, you mean commercial?
Commercial
So
zone.
you're talking about the
The
front.
commercial zone, the red zone.
Okay.
If for some reason they do not get enough retail in there, they can start putting R3s in there.
Well, they can't because they'll be signing a development agreement. But you're saying someone else could buy it from them and then do that.
Well, I mean, that may be on that list of what they won't do. But right now, the ordinance allows for an R3 to be built in a C3 zone.
Okay.
With the development agreement restricting Miranda Homes from doing that, then in the meantime, we can go back and review the C3 zoning and make changes that needed there to prevent that from happening in the future.
Okay, can that be done prior to our second reading or final approval? Because I think we're getting into a lot of contingencies that do not need to be there. This is too big a deal for both them and us. And that is a big contingency in my books. Okay, that's the first question that y'all may need to think on for a minute. At what point do you guys break even in this project? Break even, where you can start making profits. How many homes will you have to build to break even, whether they're R1s, R2Ss, R3Ss, or even the commercial? At what point do you break even?
If you don't say you can, or if you don't, Carl, you don't like.
I can't break it down to an exact number like 23.5%, but it's a mistake to believe that we would go in and develop all this property at one time. We would develop some of the larger lots, some of the medium lots, and some of the smaller lots, so we would be selling houses in 3 price points. So typically, you want a neighborhood that pays off for that section of the development at about 65%. That's when you try to get your land. Maybe 70% is when the land's paid for, but the individual houses that you would buy, we would make, the intent would be to make a profit on each house.
Yeah, there's a development side and a home building side, I'm saying.
Right, I understand. Okay. So then that leads me to the question. I think I heard Mr. McNair say, you will not do the horizontal development. You have another developer that would do that part of the plant building?
We have developed property through the years in multiple ways, and we have developed some very large subdivisions individually inside of the companies that we've owned. We have entered into partnerships. Probably 2/3 of what we've developed, we've partnered with other people. and brought them in for various reasons. And can't say exactly right now, but
But that's important to us to kind of know who we will be working with and relying on to do all the infrastructure. So
Right now, the plan is for us to build it. That's the
so
plan.
you will build. So based on the numbers you share with the planning commission, there's a lot of money going to flow out on the front end.
Yes, sir.
With the infrastructure
That's-
build out.
That's pretty typical in development.
Right,
You know,
sure it
it's heavy
is.
on the front
Yeah.
end. And to clarify on the planning commission numbers, so there were some numbers given earlier that said I gave 30 million in infrastructure. So that is 61,000 a lot. Okay, it does not cost us 61,000 a lot to develop the infrastructure. That's more like 40 or 45. So on those numbers that were given, they added 9 million in soft costs to that 30 million number that was, and contingencies that was already in my number.
Okay. Y'all are too smart of gentlemen not to have done your spreadsheets and
Yes, sir.
Excel,
Yes, sir.
Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheets. So, you know, in the very beginning, when we met almost a year and a half ago,
Yes, sir.
in the boardroom across the way over there, I asked for a lot of things about seeing profit and loss,
You did.
balance sheets, and I never got them. They were in the middle of the audit. And I never got those.
I think we did give it because a citizen got a hold of it and spoke about it at the planning commission for the county.
I was told you were in the middle of the audit and it wasn't any use till we got through the audit to give them, so we could share that, we could have that information.
At that time, we did give it, I don't know, maybe it didn't land in your hands, but we did send it to the city because that's how a citizen got a hold of it and shared it at the planning commission and county. And yes, that was our first 9 months of operation.
Right.
Business school, 2 to 3 years.
Sure.
2 to 3 years of L's is what companies take to start up. Some take 5. Here in year 2, this is second full year, we will profit, which is ahead of most.
Okay.
Actually. I don't know anything else on that, but yes, sir. I mean, if you didn't get out, I mean, I did send it to the city. That's how that person got a hold of it to read it at the county planning commission. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Danny, to clarify that, those were the first set that they were working on with the auditors, and that's when it went out to the county, that information went to the county. At that point, I didn't ask for a second set of records because, I mean, they were at the county at that point.
Okay.
Can I say something? If you don't mind. So if you go back, can you hear me okay? By the way, thank you all for coming. You know, we got families just like y'all, and we're not here to cause problems. We're just here for the future. And I'm sure where y'all living at now, somebody had a room against y'all where you live, and that's your name to it, okay? It's just great. But what we are doing a little bit different is on a lot of the developments you see now, they would take this and cut everything out and bring it down to bare bones, and you can see red coat, okay? We're not doing that.
That's right.
This is a beautiful, beautiful property back here. So everybody, earlier they were talking about, well, you know, if you don't finish it, then we're here, you're gonna see nothing but bad stuff. So how we're developing this to start with is in phases, like he said earlier, 1, 2, 3, 5 phases. It might take 10 to 12 years.
I'll never do it. Never do it.
The reason we did the commercial is because your city asked us to work with them to bring something nice, retail or restaurant to your area. Because we already had the plan of close 600 homes. So we worked with your city, and you see people, to see what we could do here to bring something nice to them. Okay? Something that these people and y'all can use. Something that a family can go in, not a vape shop, not a liquor store, but something you can take your little kid or grandkid in. But when we did this in phases, you know, all this right here, your timber and and everything you see, that's going to remain. Only till you get to the 4th and 5th, that dissipate too. So I want you to understand too. So that keeps your cost down.
Yeah,
So when he says 30 million,
Yeah. So one of the quotes earlier was that we would have $20 million in funding outstanding we're paying interest on. That's not how development of this size works. You divide that into phases, right? Some builders do, right? They got a ton of money and they're the big guys and the big players, and they'll come in and just scorch earth, right? They'll just blow everything out, right? But look, finance is what I did for him. Make sure he uses money wisely. I handled all the relationships with the bankers. That's what I did, right? And I got deals financed like this many times over. Never had one not get financed.
Obviously, we're
But
not spending $30 million.
yeah, but at the end of the day, it would be.
But at some point, you will come close to that number based on your projections
Yes, sir.
that
Cost.
you've worked with at this point in time.
Yes, sir.
That is a real number.
It is.
It may not be spent day one, but at some point.
But it won't all be outstanding at one
Right,
time. Right? That's
exactly.
all I'm saying. Yeah,
Okay.
It'll be, divide that into 5, right? And that's probably at any given time maybe what's outstanding. But yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, and I understand why our city staff may have talked about the need for commercial.
Sir.
But at the same time, we have 25 buildings downtown empty today. And that's a scary thought. Now, we just had our first meeting last week to talk about how can we revitalize our downtown, not let it die.
Yes, sir.
But if we start taking a lot more retail out there, which is gonna happen with the baseball complex and things of that.
Yes, sir.
We've got to figure out a way to keep our downtown, or we lose that quality that we,
I agree, and I think 490 homes is a way that you revitalize that, right? Getting people there, and our site won't just rob that, right? It's not like that's the entire downtown of retail, right? I mean, it will. Those people are not far from downtown. They'll drive down there and utilize it. It'll help, hopefully, with that, right?
But it is a concern we've got
Yes,
to
sir.
have to think about whether, because it's new, it's fresh, it's vibrant looking versus what we have right now downtown is not. Now,
One other consideration for that is that as far as the commercial goes, that will not be built until later in the project. You're going to get a lot of homes in
Right.
that really will service your downtown for years and years and years without any of that competition. And then at the point which this gets further in, that's when those retailers will commit and say, okay, well, there's enough people that can go, frequent downtown, but then now also support this, and they'll do that math. Like, they won't come to us if it's not supported. And we just thought it was relevant. There's Ingles right there, right? It's that area's designated commercial corridor in the comp plan, and so we just thought maybe, hey, this is a good if we were going to tie in, we tie in there. It just felt for us, that's why we put it there.
We volunteered our services, I did, to your city to help do your downtown. I did do that.
the comprehensive plan you have quoted from and worked with,
Yes, sir.
is that our 2019 plan, or is that the draft?
The latest draft. Yes, sir.
Okay, which we have not been given a copy of. So we do not have reference to what you've been working with.
Okay.
And of course, planning commission's still waiting on.
We have received it.
Huh?
We have received it.
Electronically, but not
As a group.
as a group.
Okay.
Yeah, very familiar with that. Based on your projections of what you see over a course of time, we've talked a lot about, it's going to be great. The tax revenue will be fantastic for our city because the impact fees are very designated and very specific. We need them desperately. But a comment was made in the planning commission, the city was broke. We are not broke. And I just want to clarify that right now. Could we use a lot more money? Absolutely. Could we do more things? Yes, absolutely. But we also know we're going to have to build another fire substation, maybe 2 at some point. We may need another fire truck. That's what things will be used with those impact fees. Based on your schedule of building, and I realize that's a guessing number right now, but for us to recognize property tax revenue, at what point do you think we're going to see significant dollars coming in that we can then use in our operating budget?
Yes, sir. Well, I would give it every bit to get to building homes, right? From where we stand today, and some of that is dependent on, obviously, we've got to create a full set of construction drawings. That's got to go back to planning, and your staff has to review it. There's all kinds of things that y'all will have control over, right, in the city. That's another good thing too here, being with y'all versus the county. It's like gives you that control to have all those reviews and address some questions that were asked, which are good questions. You know, every bit of 2 years, if not, you know, you're 2 to 3 to get the homes started. You know, and then from there, you know, you're going to run, you know, I'd say another, I mean, how many homes are you looking for to get to the revenue you're looking for, or you just want all of it? How long?
No, I'm just wondering how much, you know, would be a really correct, a more accurate number to use
at least
as
another,
we do financial planning.
I mean, to get to 100 homes, you're at least another 2 or 3 years, depending on the market. Right now, the market's slow in home building. That's a national news. Everybody knows it, right? You know, if you underwrite a project right now, you're underwriting at the dip, right? And it's slow. If it turns back up, that number could go faster, right? And so, I mean, standing right here, right now, with what I know, I think you're probably able to 3 years to get to 100 homes. That's solid revenue to me. You know, I'm not. That's not my area of expertise, but
I understand.
Yes.
Danny, you getting close?
Yeah,
On your
I'm
question?
finished.
All right, I'm like Danny, I'm gonna be here a little bit, so, some of it's gonna be just statements, some of it's gonna be questions. I don't need deep, in-depth explanation. You said higher use of city utilities will help our rates. I've asked that question before. Our utility rates will not go down, no matter how many houses we got. You said there's 18 feet between houses. There is no house in Mary Oaks that is 18 feet apart. They're flooded. I deliver their mail. I have 90% of them out there. So that is not so. My question I don't need to answer, why are we going against the county? And this is a question. Y'all came to us, we approved y'all as a R1. We give y'all an opportunity. Y'all went to the county, y'all did not like our R1. Why did you go to the county? Because you didn't like the county, so you come back to us.
So we went back to the county, and what we presented was R1, well, it was R2, R3 back then, but effectively we're looking for R1, R2S, R3S. And so that was not agreed upon. Once again, I think it doesn't go with the comp plan to build 500 homes of the same type over and over again. Comp plan clearly does not state that that's your goal. It's not our goal either. Let's offer homes in a nice neighborhood to multiple buyer types and multiple people. I think that the emergency services folks and the teachers and everything matter.
All right.
Right? They should be able to live in that neighborhood.
The next one was like you, we did agree to all R1. You said we want multiple. No, we did not agree to R1, R2, R3. So no, we did not agree to multiple. So, and y'all didn't like that. That's why y'all went to the county and came back. As you can see, I'm not a BSer, excuse me. You said the width lot for R1, a requirement is 70. You're saying if you're gonna go back, you're only gonna make it 50. That does not meet R1 requirement. Okay.
Is that a question?
And then you said, okay, so we're actually, the county is in litigation right now addressing this matter. I don't understand why we're even addressing it until that gets taken care of. Everybody in here, I live in a trailer, not ashamed of it. Ain't nobody in here, out here lives in a mobile home. Not ashamed of it. But would anybody else anybody on this board want this in their subdivision? Does any of y'all live in a subdivision? And I don't like feel like we're being pressured. You got 2 times in this thing. It says, you said, well, first you said it was previously approved by the county, which it was not. It was shot down. And then, in this thing, you said, if the property is not annexed into the city, the property should be developed in Lawrence County development standards. Once again, you mentioned that again. If the site is not annexed into the city limits, the development will occur probably with more lots that is currently being proposed here. If not annexed, the city is obligated to provide services like fire and police. So basically, you give us 2 ultimatums that if we don't accept it, you're going to the county anyway. So you're pushing us. You went to the county, but you came back.
do you answer the question? So with that, I was asked a question directly of what happens if this is denied? I was asked that question. I said, well, my answer to that, you can look back at the video, my answer to that was, well, I'd rather not be pinned into a corner and have to do that. I'm bringing something that I think is better here. It's less lots. It has better amenities to the city. It gives city impact fees. But we are approved in the county. I have a judge order that states it. And yes, anyone on earth can appeal a decision. There are inmates on death row that appeal decisions. Does that make them correct? No. And I have our attorney here.
Not
If anybody
correct,
wants,
but
well, if
you can't
anybody
do
wants,
anything until it's settled.
we have an approved site plan. So if anybody wants, he was attorney on the case. If you have any questions on the appeal itself, happy to have him answer them. Look, we have a signed order by a judge that agreed with us on 3 counts. I've never in my career seen a case won on 3 counts with a municipality just hard enough to get 1. 3. If there's 10% of appeals in the United States that get approved, and this one has a less % chance of that. I've seen these. And if you want comments from our attorney who's on the case, sitting in that courtroom, I mean, would y'all like him to speak on it, or?
I have some questions for him.
Well,
Yeah.
I got one more question, and I'm done with the BS. This property, I don't see him here, sitting here, but somebody has offered the same amount of money to Mr. Wyman or whoever owns this land as y'all. But they're basically saying his money ain't no good. So there's something behind the scenes. If this guy is wanting to purchase for the exact same price, there's something behind the scenes.
It would be a contract.
Money talks.
Well, no, I mean, a legally binding contract, which we are out of due diligence on, and we are buying the property, so no one else is gonna buy the property, I'm gonna own it. We've already come out of due diligence. We've already let our money go hard. We are buying the property. We are going to develop it. I mean, just being honest.
He
right?
said they're gonna develop. Y'all heard it. Go Kirkendall. I'm done.
Don't know if I can follow that, but thank you. I just have one question.
If possible.
Sure.
To address some of the comments that the young lady made there. And she was asking, why do we want the R3 zoning where we can do a narrow lot? When I started building houses 40 years ago, we started building a small lot was 100 feet wide, and people built on big lots. We used septic tanks, and the lot was a smaller part of the price of the house. Over the years, lots have become a much more expensive part of the house. The impact fees, the sewer, the water have risen now to where lots are, of the sales price of the house, 25%. If you take that back to the raw numbers of building a house, then where I'm just talking about sticks and bricks and labor, a lot is really more like 35 or 40% of the cost of the house. It's the builder's response to the change in the economics of the nation to build a smaller lot so they can build houses for people. And we all know that the pyramid of people buying houses is much bigger at the bottom than it is at the top. You have the wealthy individuals that right now in Greenville are buying houses on acre lots that are 4,500 square feet that sell for over $1 million. But, and I'm on the South Carolina Board of Housing, Finance, and Development. We deal with affordable housing all the time. There is a huge pool of buyers that need to be thought about. And I'm not talking about subsidized housing. I'm talking about your firemen, your teachers, people that make the $45,000 and their wife makes $45,000. They want to buy a nice house, but to get on a lot that they can afford for a house that's $275,000, $325,000, we need to have the small lot, because if we were developing lots that were 120 feet wide now, we would be talking about $120,000, $150,000 to develop those lots by the time we could develop them and mark them up and get them to the market. Then we'd be talking about $600,000, $700,000 houses. And you're buying Poole and Clinton for that is small. So we're trying to provide housing for people, for the average folks that live in Clinton.
Just to comment what you said, R2 and R3, we have anywhere, the numbers keep changing, anywhere from between 1,200 and 1,900 homes proposed already at that level that are not R1. So that's why this level, we're trying to get all R1 there, because the 1,100 homes are already at R2, R3. We've got plenty of R2 and R3 going up.
And I think we're giving you a good mix. You know, I know that over and over again, 2,200 homes in the pipeline was mentioned in planning, and really, number one, those aren't getting all eaten in a year. Well, we know that if you've been through development, it's, you know, a small chunk of that a year. So it's not really contributing 2,200 in a year. The other part is, in the state of South Carolina, currently is short almost 90 to 100,000 homes. 2,200 homes ain't gonna be a drop in that bucket. And believe me, everywhere in the state is growing. You're seeing it. Your industrial park is coming here. You've got the baseball field coming here. This is the fastest, highest influx state in the nation right now. Unless we want to put up walls, that's not stopping.
Yep.
And right now the state is short 90 to 100,000 homes. And that's data from the HBA. Happy to share.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Kirkendall.
So, I was just looking at some of the litigation information that you've got going on right now. And this is a lawyer question or anything.
Okay, all right.
But I was surprised to see that you've got Bush River Sporting Clays and Properties as a partner.
Seller.
No, sir. That's the seller.
It's the seller.
Seller. They were on
they're
the case.
selling.
They were an interested party in the case. Yes, sir. Just because they were the seller and they were being impacted by the decision too.
I see.
So they decided to sign on. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
Mr. Smith.
A few minutes ago, you said that you offered to help with the downtown revitalization. Can you say, I haven't heard that.
Yes, sir. He was talking about the empty buildings and stuff, and I told him, I first asked if y'all had an economic development group, you know, inside the city or town, and they are everything. And I told him that I would not mind meeting with them or other business people and see if we could get someone in those places. Just like I don't mind meeting with Ingalls when we start things down there to see if Ingalls would upgrade y'all's Ingalls down there. You know, because Ingalls don't want another grocery store anywhere, you know. And we think with this coming and talking to Ingalls, they would do that for you, I would think. You know, but I don't mind, like I said, every one of y'all can have my phone number, but I don't mind helping y'all try to bring some restaurants or businesses in. More than happy to do that at no cost right now. I told them I'd be more happy to meet with them and help them.
He did and is doing and has done that in Greenwood, in the south side of Greenwood, because that's, I mean, you can speak to it better than I, but that's an area that's been largely neglected in Greenwood for years,
Yeah,
right?
so in Greenwood, which we had 100% support, hadn't had anybody upset, is that we're on the south end of Greenwood, which I live there, and we've never had anything like our neighbors on the north end or east end or west end. So we're finally bringing restaurants down there and other aspects of businesses, along with some homes as well. But we needed those homes to get the businesses. Now we're starting to do a couple of those businesses soon before the homes get built. But people are thankful for it, and that's why I respect them. I mean, I really do for coming here. But we'll do. You know, I've offered. I think they'll tell you I've offered my hand if anything I could help y'all with. You know, down here. Plus, it's a possibility we could look for some grants too and work with y'all. Trying to get those places filled, especially since you've got homes coming here, you know, all over the 2,000 homes.
And Heath and I have also offered, happy to have a community meeting and get feedback on commercial or different elements. Happy to do that. We have met with some citizens, but I mean, happy to have a community meeting and hear that. I mean, there's not every builder and every developer is going to do that, right? But we're the local builder.
Okay.
We did. Yeah.
Okay, let's jump in.
Go ahead,
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Wham, are you knowledgeable about the county process? Could I ask you a couple questions about that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. So when we if we have something already in the city and a developer comes and wants to build it up, it goes to planning commission, they make a recommendation, and then we vote on whether to approve it or not. How is that the same or different from how that process happens in the county?
It's a little different. There's similarities, but the county has, I think you may have read it in that order, they have what's called the Technical Review Committee, which is more of a, I'd say the county's approach is maybe more administrative. Y'all been through it. Maybe you can comment on that.
Correct. Yes, sir. The TRC.
Where the TRC could actually approve, well, let me back up. That is not the case anymore. I understand the county has changed that in large part because of what happened with this development. So the ordinance before said that either the TRC could approve a subdivision plan, or the planning commission, or the planning commission. So it left it open so that the TRC could actually approve that plan without going to the planning commission. And that's actually what happened, which is actually why they won the lawsuit, is because they had vested rights. The TRC had approved it. That was correct, most likely under the county ordinance at the time. Again, the county has shifted. I think you probably have to get both now if you were to bring something before the county. So the county has a planning commission, but I think before it was based on if you had a variance, you had to go to the planning commission. If there was no variance or it was a small subdivision, the TRC could stamp it, and that would allow them to move forward. So
The county doesn't really have any zoning, does it? I mean,
No, sir.
the county doesn't have any zoning.
It's open zoning.
I mean, it's.
no, that's
it's-
correct.
Yeah.
Which adds a layer,
On
obviously, to
all
this
those
process, because
meetings years ago.
you have the say in whether or not this comes into the city. You want this property within the city limits. I mean, that's effectively what one of the major differences between what the county did and what you're doing.
In getting that letter, the TRC approval letter, what that explains is every department has to check it to say, does it meet your ordinances that are publicly posted? When a developer goes before a planning commission with a site plan that robust with that much due diligence, they've spent probably over $100,000 to get there. I'm not very litigious. You can look back at my history. I don't have a lot of those on my rap sheet, but I will tell you this. When I get an approval letter from TRC that says we have met to the T publicly posted ordinances, and in good faith of those publicly posted ordinances, spent 6 figures to get there, and then it goes and is inexplicably denied by planning commission with the TRC approval letter, that's why we found ourselves in that situation.
So as soon as the TRC gave you approval, you were allowed to build?
Per the judge's order, the TRC approval letter did confirm that we met all ordinances, and that was deemed as an approval. And correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm gonna have a question
Yeah,
for him too,
yeah.
so can you step up?
And so the site plan is approved and vested per the judge's order. It's on the judge's order. So
I saw that.
Yes, Judge Vance's order does state that as of June 23rd, which is when that TRC approval letter came through, that vested rights, they were vested at that time. In the alternative, Judge Vance also ruled that if, for argument's sake, if the county was allowed to subject Cambridge Farms to the dual approval process as they did, which Judge Vance found that was not proper, that the Planning Commission's decision to refuse that duplicate approval was arbitrary, capricious, and an abuse of discretion, and it lacked any legal evidence to support it. Judge Vance's order specifically found that neither the Technical Review Committee nor the Planning Commission identified any specific deficiencies, nonconformity, or violations of applicable ordinance with respect to preliminary plat. In addition, the order stated that the court finds that petitioners complied with every applicable requirement of the county's ordinances and regulations. And so along with being unlawfully subjected to the dual review process, their Lawrence County Planning Commission's decision was arbitrary, capricious, and abuse of their discretion.
So I'm sure it's part of the process, but I don't understand it. If the TRC said they approve and you're allowed to build, how did you end up in front of the Planning Commission and the County Council?
So, in front of the Yeah, so we went in front of planning. I'm sorry if I misspoke.
You were never in front of county council?
There is no, so it's open zoning, so we would not have to go in front of county council to ask for zoning. Right now, we're in a zoning annexation meeting. With open zoning, that step is skipped, and you go straight to a site plan approval, which is with planning commission, just like you guys. Site plan approval would be after this. If you voted, hey, we're good with this today in the next reading, our next step would be, we would go and create a full set of construction drawings with a lot of detail, a lot of questions asked, and then we would go in front of your planning commission. Well, that's the step you just go, you can go straight to, don't have to go straight to, but they try to push us to even with the approval.
How long do you expect the appeal to take?
So as of right now, initial briefing of that appeal is not complete. I believe off the top of my head, this coming Friday, the first brief from Lawrence County is due. That is assuming no extensions. Initial briefing can take anywhere from probably 2 to 3 months, maybe longer depending on extensions. As far as the time when that appeal will be heard in front of the Court of Appeals, that can range, anywhere from a year to 2 years. After that, the time that it would take for the Court of Appeals to issue an opinion could be an additional year, if not longer. So it could end up being a multi-year process.
So does that have anything to do with y'all wanting to be in the city, because that just goes away? And
Look, if we're gonna take the time to go through the appeal process, which at this point, if you've really read the facts of the case, it is very strong. And correct me if I'm wrong, they cannot bring in any new facts. It is a review of the facts of the case as it stands.
Yes, so the appellate, the standard of review would be the facts that was there present in front of the planning commission. That record has been set, that was set in the circuit court.
So with that said, we can go forward with that, and we're willing to fight that battle, go down that route. The county is gonna spend money on that legally. We will spend money on it, right? We have a site plan here that we've spent a lot of time on with the city and made better per the vision of the city. So while we're in this process right now, instead of sending the county down a path where they're gonna spend a whole lot of money and we're gonna be able to go do it anyways, why not take it forward with a city that has seemed like they appreciate the site plan, appreciate this and the growth, need it, right, and can benefit from it. So,
Cosdale, I want to say something. The other week, when he was asked a question, it wasn't that he was being rude. They said, are you going to go ahead, no matter if we approve this or not, if we don't approve it, are you going to go ahead and build these 600-something homes? And what he's got in there, what's passed through the county, through that court thing, then yes, he would. He wasn't being rude, man. They asked him a great thing about it. So I want you to understand that. He wasn't being rude.
And I'm not being rude to you. I'm really not being
So
rude.
this-
I have read the body language the whole time I was over there. And I have no problem with R1. I voted R1, that's what we passed the first time. I don't like to be lied to. I don't like to be BS, and I'm not think to you. I think you're very polite, you as well. Don't mind speaking with him as an individual. But that's what he told me, it's going.
But the way I look at it, it's 117 homes less, and y'all would gain the taxation, and that's the plus side, I guess you'd say.
that brings up a point I wanted to make, and that's Planning Commission did approve or recommend that we approve this as all R1, and we did that. And many people in this room were at that meeting. And at that time, everybody was telling us you have to do what Planning Commission recommends. And now Planning Commission is recommending we approve this plan, and they want us to go against what Planning Commission recommends. So I don't know what to do with that, but we already approved more lots than this. The wetlands concerns, all that stuff, the traffic, it's all valid. We voted to approve it with more homes. They've come back, in my opinion, with a better plan The commercial, people have concerns about that. I hope we can fix the issue with the R3. I think we can, especially if they're going to do a development agreement that gives us time to do a similar. We changed our zoning based on the concerns from a lot of the crowd that they were going to build. They wouldn't build what they said they would. But our R2 and R3 allowed multifamily, and people said, well, as soon as you give them that zoning, that's what they'll do. So we created 2 new zoning designations. I think coming back with R2S and R3S, that's kind of what we asked them to do. It's fewer homes, and we fixed the zoning. I know people still don't like the narrow lots. I get that. That's valid. But the main concern I remember from the first meetings was that they would build multifamily no matter what we did. To answer your question, Ms. Cogswell, about would you live there, I would. I mean, I don't have a problem with this type of neighborhood. Pool, cabana, 10-acre Central Park, athletic fields, cooking area, walking trails. I have cousins in Missouri that grew up in a neighborhood very similar to this, and I was always jealous when I went to their house. I lived in the middle of nowhere and had one neighbor. And some people want that, but some people want this. I've been in a lot of neighborhoods like this. I've visited in them. I know people that live in them. My mother-in-law lives in a neighborhood similar to this. The people there all know each other. They get along. I don't view this as something negative for Clinton. I think if you asked many people in Clinton, would you rather stay where you're at or move into this neighborhood, they would choose this neighborhood if they could afford it. That's just my honest answer. If something like this was being put in near my house, I would be okay with that. And I'm just trying to be honest. I know people may not believe that, but that's my honest take on it. To talk about the wetlands, I've heard from so many people in this room and people that aren't in this room. I've also heard from a lot of people in the community that aren't here that speak positively about it, that see the positive attributes, that see how it'll help our city both financially and with the customer base for downtown businesses. It's very hard to be in a room where a bunch of people are against something and stand up and say, I think it's a good idea. So I don't expect to hear a lot of people in Clinton that would be positive about it. Coming here to speak in front of, I mean, and even on like Facebook and things, there's no reason to put your neck on the line and say, well, I kind of like it or whatever. It just puts you in an awkward spot. As far as I do want to clarify a couple things because the number 2200 has been in the Planning Commission meetings in different areas. I tried to get an actual number on that, and the number that we have that I got from our planning department, thought I had it up here. Is it 15 and 30, Phil? 1,530. One of them that was on the initial list. We didn't approve. That was the one. Mr. Metters, can you help me out by our ball fields?
Rec complex.
Belly Acres. Hampton Woods has already done building, so they shouldn't be on the approved. They already exist, and I guess most of them are sold. And what was the other one that was on our list initially that got us to 1908? There was one that's no longer Highland Park, was it? Okay, Highland Park. Are they decided not to move forward, or have we done something with that or previous?
They've not approached us about going forward with the development. So
Okay.
at this point, and they haven't done anything within 2 years. So the ordinance says that within 2 years, technically they can be resent back to what was originally approved. So they're going to come back to you anyway.
Okay. So, I mean, that may still be a big number for people, but it's different than 2,200, and the homes that we have the option to approve tonight doesn't even get us to 2,200 based on what we have currently approved. A couple more things I want to say. I know I'm going kind of long. The development agreement, I think, is huge. We definitely have to have that in place, and I think that would ease a lot of people's minds. The real issue for me tonight is that whether or not you think it's a good chance or a bad chance, I've read the court documents. I'm not going to put a percentage on it. It looks like they have a good case. Y'all got approved before the moratorium was put in place. Some people may think that the appeal has a chance, and maybe it's also people just want that process to happen because it would delay these guys 2 years. I'm not sure. But it looks like it has a great chance of being upheld, in my opinion. So the greatest risk to the city tonight, in my opinion, is that we don't approve it, and then they build anyway in the county, and we've still got the wetlands issue, we've still got flooding, we've still got traffic. We've mentioned a lot of cons to the project, and there are, I see a lot of positives to it, but we've talked a lot about the negatives, and the best chance of what could happen is that it gets approved in the county anyway and it's built, and those problems all exist anyway, and we don't get any of the impact fees or the taxes. I've heard a lot of you, I've talked to a lot of you. The part that makes this job hard is that even though we hear concerns, so many of them are valid and good concerns and things that we're going to do everything we can to fix, we still have to vote yes or no on things. And what puts me over the edge, I'm going to vote yes tonight. What puts me over the edge is knowing that there's a good chance that it's going to happen anyway. So we've spent all this time talking about do we like the project or not, but there's still a good chance hanging over our heads that it's going to be built whether we do like it or not. I haven't taken that as a threat, but I've just seen that's probably the reality. So acknowledge, I'll just acknowledge the risks involved with voting no or tabling it. Those are the positive things about it. I obviously don't see neighborhoods like this as something super negative. I feel like we're talking about data centers, and it's just homes where people are going to live. I understand people don't like it. Some people say, I don't want to live that close to my neighbors. If people didn't like this type of neighborhood, they wouldn't buy the homes. And we have people calling us all the time looking for exactly this. You add on the risk that I mentioned, that's why I'm going to vote yes tonight. That's all I have.
Before you go, Megan, I'm gonna speak back to Danny. I have no problem with the layout or whatever. All these amenities are great. And if you remember during the first time it came through, it was a big issue. And the only way we would pass it was as R1, but that's the only way it got passed. I don't have a problem. If we could go all R1, I absolutely have no problem with this. They saying single family, whatever. And I've told this to Megan before. My trailer does not belong in Mary Oaks. I know that. And I mean, if it goes all R1, I'll tell you, yes, I'll vote yes. But right now, I'm a no. And I think it's a great layout. But just, you got R1 in the front, well, then you got R3, just say me and my trailer at the back. Well, these other 400 homes has got to go back through R1. So these people that done spent $450,000 on a home, well, you got me and my little beat raggedy car coming through this nice neighborhood. I'm just saying, I'm not being smart. Look, I'm from this side of town, I apologize, and I'm not being smart, I'm just stating facts.
Sorry.
And we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
My turn. First, can we have your wetlands expert talk to us about, would you also speak to stormwater runoff? That's someone else.
We have two experts to handle
Great.
those issues.
I'd love to hear from two strong women. I love it. Go.
So my name's Laura Belanger. I am a wetland scientist. So we deal specifically with identifying the streams and wetlands on the undeveloped site. We did our delineation in December of 2024. That's when we bring the field scientists out. And we're looking at soils, hydrology, vegetation, following Army Corps of Engineers standard practices. Then we had representatives from the Army Corps of Engineers out on site at the end of February 2025. So they have been on site. And we have the wetland delineation report. It identified a total of 9.11 acres of aquatic resources on the site, and that included 6,879 linear feet of tributary. What the Army Corps of Engineers regulates are those aquatic resources that are protected under the Clean Water Act, and so that is our very narrow specialty. It is all we do, is Clean Water Act regulations. So we get brought out pretty early in the due diligence timeline.
And so does this meet the requirements? Is it in line with the Army Corps of Engineers?
Yes, so what
specifications?
the way the process works is the first thing that happens is those resources that are protected under the Clean Water Act are identified on site. So that was what happened in December, and we coordinated with Army Corps of Engineers. If they are going to do any work within those areas, a permit will have to be obtained from the Army Corps of Engineers before that can happen, and the Corps is going to have to authorize that. Based on their site plan, it looks like they have avoided the vast majority of impacts to aquatic resources, the way they've laid everything out.
Okay.
So then it will become a question of engineering, but the Army Corps has very specific rules on what they will approve. So for example, road crossings have very specific culvert requirements. Those were just updated in March of this year.
Okay.
So that, I think the site plan has to get further along to know what those impacts will be, but they will have to coordinate further with Army Corps for that.
Thank you. I appreciate scientific expertise, and I especially appreciate seeing women in STEM, so thank you. So you can speak to the stormwater runoff. That would be fantastic.
Yes, ma'am. Chrissy Terrell Drake. I'm a partner at Blue Water Civil Design. I'm a project manager on this. I've been involved with it for the past 2 years, so any questions you have, I can definitely answer.
Well, tell me, speak to the concerns that people have addressed, especially regarding the Bush River.
Absolutely.
Watershed.
So just to piggyback off of what Laura was speaking about with those wetlands, we're going to have 2 wetlands crossings for roadways. So that is standard permitting procedures that we have to go through. We work with Laura all the time on those and what those regulations that we have to meet. And that is specifically because the property is bisected by a tributary. You cannot get to the back of that property without having an impact. Now we have limited that impact to only be the road crossings at this point in time. There's nothing with our lots. We won't have grading outside of what has to be for that road crossing and that culvert in any of the wetland areas, including there's buffers set to those wetland areas as well with the delineations. And we're not near anywhere in those buffers either. To piggyback off of some other issues that have come up, specifically with the Bush River. So I believe I was asked this at Planning Commission. I think there was just some confusion with the question. I was being asked to elaborate if there was an Army Corps of Engineer delineated report for the flooding. Your flood zones are established by FEMA, which is your Federal Emergency Management Agency. They do their own studies. They come through and they evaluate what those zones are. So on our site specifically along that back edge, there's small parts of the site that have that zone AE signature on it. So in that area, it is a flood zone. We cannot add any fill. We cannot do any disturbance. And there's a base flood elevation set that we have to design homes at least 6 feet taller than. I went ahead and ran a preliminary evaluation of what those base flood elevations are and where our closest roadway and lots that back up to that flood area is, and we're 20 feet in the air. So above what that established flooding elevation is by national data. So there is nothing that we will be doing in that flood zone. When it comes to stormwater, we also have state regulations that we have to meet. In the city of Clinton, that goes directly to SEDES. They evaluate our designs. We have peak rate attenuation that we have to meet for our development. There's watershed elevations in our ponds that we have to meet that are all state regulated, and those are who come out, perform annual inspections and make sure everything in the site is per design and up to code. So there's no detrimental, let me rephrase that, excuse me. At this point in time with our design, meeting those state regulations, we are going to be at code there. We have enough space available that we are willing to go above. Just from my engineering, my name is going on these plans. I'm liable. I'm a state licensed professional engineer. My number is 41073 if you want to look me up. I've got 12 years of experience. I would not feel comfortable putting my name on these plans without the designing to the 100-year storm. So you have my guarantee as a partner in this company that that will be happening. We sign an oath to not harm, to not perform any engineering that is going to cause issues and harm to downstream neighbors. So I hope that gives you a little bit
It does.
of
Well,
reassurance.
I also, again, I appreciate women in STEM.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
appreciate the engineering creed to do no harm. I mean, I think we are, as someone who believes in science, we're going to see more floods, more and more floods. That's just a fact, because that's a fact. So at least 100-year flood standard is what we have to be forward thinking of. But I appreciate your input and addressing the concerns of those. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I've got some other things.
Megan, may I ask a follow-up question while she's up here?
Sure.
Please? Will your report be done in phases as the development occurs based on current structures and then as more are added? Or do you do it on the front end in the beginning and then it's not done anymore till it's completed out?
So we will look at it as a full build-out development for our engineering calculations that we need. Because you have to take into account the whole thing being developed, all of that impervious
Right.
area, the areas go into those ponds. Now, we may break our construction phasing out, but our hydrology and our report will be analyzed with the full build-out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So first I'll speak to the difference between county and city, just my view of it. I know this may not be the exact meaning of home rule, but home rule is that municipalities get to decide for themselves what is good for our municipality. And so to say that because the county is fighting it, whatever terminology we want to use, that we shouldn't move forward, goes against that, at least the spirit of home rule. Again, I'm not assured. I know home rule means some different thing, it has legal terms to it, but that we have the capacity as a council to decide things for our municipality, regardless of what, as long as we're following state law, you know, we don't have to follow county. We set more standards for zoning than they do. We would have more control over things as a part of our city annex. I think this fits well into our annexation plan, which has, in the past, we have always talked about moving out 72 as part of our annexation plan. I have chosen to live in this community for 18 years. I've raised all of my children. My youngest is starting her senior year tomorrow. Got a lot going on, but I love being here to represent our community. I grew up in a very urban area, houses very close together. That I lived on a peninsula in Florida, probably one of the highest density areas, Pinellas County, in the country. So I don't know, I grew up okay next to neighbors. I live in a high density area here, College View. I can hear my neighbor Greg when he pulls into the driveway, which is right next to my bedroom, and know if he turns the light on or off in his driveway. And I can't throw a ball to the mayor's house, but I know I could kick a ball to the mayor's house. And he's 3 houses down. I know there's fear with change. There's so much fear with change. I remember a few years ago when there was change on my street, when Thornwell asked to have a roadway opened to start the farm. And we were told that children were gonna die, that it was unsafe, and as of now, no children have died on our road. Everyone's been safe, and I think most people would agree that it's been a positive addition to our city. And I like being able to pass by it on my daily walk. I don't think that commercial growth on that end of the city is mutually exclusive from growth down here. I think what we have to do is increase our median income, and the only way to do that is to increase our population. Our schools are not at capacity, and we do need to increase those. And we need more teachers. I work in special education, and it is a beast to find teachers who are adequately certified, who are willing to live. They all want to live in Greenville, and people don't want to commute. And we are losing a lot of our qualified teachers, a lot of teachers that some of you may have had who are aging out and have hung on for a long time, but will retire at some point. I was in Fountain Inn this last weekend, and it was so packed, we couldn't find parking and had to ditch our plans and go somewhere else. And I think those are issues we would love to dream of having. And 20 years ago, I think we will all agree that that was not where downtown Fountain Inn was. It was not the place to be, but it is now, and it's partially because of the growth. And I know it's scary. I know that change is scary, but we also have a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens of Clinton. And I don't see it as a threat. I don't see it as a threat of they're going to build. That's just the fact. And if we don't annex, we are losing out on, and we will have to service them with fire. And if we annex them, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, the traffic, as of right now, that's out of your jurisdiction, correct? Yes. But if we were to annex, you would be able to patrol that section of road for speeding, for...
traffic all the way to the end of the project, which would be
Cambridge Road.
Cambridge.
Okay. So that would extend our ability to monitor traffic, speeding, that kind of thing. Whereas right now, as it stands, without annexation, you would have no ability. Okay. So I have looked at the plans when it was all R1, and it did look a lot more congested than this. It was, you lost all of that green space between. This to me, again, I know this is a bird's eye view, provides a lot more green space than an all R1. And I have young adult children who think they'll never be able to afford a home.
Yep.
Period. The job market is dismal right now for young adults coming out of college. And everyone I know has a boomerang child in their house right now, and would love to get them out. This would not, not necessarily be affordable but they want to have something to aspire to, and we are the fastest growing state in the nation. More people moved to South Carolina last year than any other state. period. So those are my thoughts.
Well, we're going
Okay,
over
thank you.
You said that, Mary, I mean, and I've told this before, I mean, everybody don't, have to live in Mary Oaks, everybody don't belong in Mary Oaks, I mean, anybody can live there, I'm just saying, but you got these other 1,900 homes that if you can't afford a Mary Oaks home, then you go to the other 12 or 1,900. I don't live above my means just so I can fit in to go with Mary Oaks.
Okay,
Can I say one thing?
sure. We're not getting ready to close yet. I'm gonna talk first.
Well, I really like the design. I think of most everything we've got going, you've come to the table with a more attractive design.
Thank you.
than what we've got. But I have to keep reminding myself, now whether it's 2,200 or if it's 1,400, we have at least, I'm gonna say around 1,600 homes on the schedule right now. And we've heard about the schools' concerns about filling these classrooms. Those bills that we already have on our schedule is gonna make a big impact in the city of Clinton. And I know most of our focus has been on this right now, but it seems like we've lost focus on these other areas. But those, when we build rooftops, where we've got already approved, I want somebody to tell me that's not gonna impact Clinton like we're parading this to be. I'm waiting.
I don't understand.
What we have already scheduled to be built in Clinton, do you think it's not gonna impact this city?
Of course.
All right, how much do we need to get to the goals we're trying to reach? Do we want to become the upper cities that's just covered with it? Or do we want to become the Fort Mills that my cousins that live over there say, if you can avoid it, please do? Or Woodruff, if you can avoid it, please do.
Well, what we can control is by zoning. And if
They have
we
the
don't,
same opportunities we have.
if we are not part of the process, if we don't annex, we have no say over that zoning. And people can build in the county and do whatever they want.
I understand.
So
Okay.
I don't,
My focus
But we-
question right now is, have we not established credibility plans of building homes in this town? Already? Signed?
I don't understand your question.
Okay.
Credibility.
Okay. We've got homes scheduled, and they're building them now at the Commons, 120. And then we've got those on Vance property. How many of those? 300?
Vance property was 175 in their first phase.
First phase.
And they hadn't planned their second phase
Okay.
yet.
All right, the Wilder property,
135 townhomes.
all right, then we've got, the Dutton property,
That was around 70.
and you tell me what else we've got, cause we've gotta get the 1,500 somewhere.
We got Shell Creek,
Yeah?
that there was
Townhouses,
135
on
Shell
Springdale.
I'll copy this.
We've got behind Truman Owen's house over there,
No movement on that one.
but we've got, what? What's up?
They came to us with a preliminary plan.
Uh-huh.
That's one of those that the 2-year deal is about up on.
Mhm.
So it can be reverted back to the original zone.
Okay, all right, then we've talked about traffic. Traffic's been a big concern about us putting this development up. The traffic, as I see it, is not gonna be such a bad spot right there where the development's going. Those people are probably gonna be employed either in Columbia or in Simpsonville or Spartanburg. Their pattern of traffic is gonna flood that ring road. And the schools like, the grammar school east side, the Clinton High School, the middle school, all those areas are gonna be high density traffic areas. because those vehicles are gonna be headed to 385, I-26.
Okay.
And the ring road right now is 4 lane.
And it is a booger. You been out there during school hours?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Every day. Okay, let me say something at some point. The good thing about being in local government is we get to make all the easy decisions. And we get to hear a lot of different things. One of the things when you're talking about numbers and about all this traffic, I just wonder how we made it back in the 90s, because right now we're down 2,000 people from 96 when Clinton Mills closed and Temkin closed. And we're projected to go down in the next 5 or 7 years, 2,000 more. So, you know, we're going to go from, we're worrying about traffic and we're not going to have any traffic. We're going to be dark. I would, everybody that's talked to me, and I've talked to folks, you know, I've been in this since 1996, and you always do get, everybody that comes to these meetings is mostly against stuff. But we also, I've had numbers and numbers of folks that say, keep going, we're doing well, we want to grow. And we do need to grow. We either grow or you die. That's my opinion. And I love this place. I'm like Fred Chapman used to say. Dr. Fred Chapman, he said when he ran for school district, he said he was in line at the grocery store one day, and he had announced he was going to run for school board. And he was behind 2 ladies in the grocery store, and they were talking about who was running. And they said some Johnny-come-lately had just moved here. He'd only been here 20 years at that point in time. Well, I'm one of those 55 to 60-year Johnny-come-latelys who chose here, raised my children, raised my grandchildren, and love Clinton. And so I think, you know, what all of us are doing is trying to balance what's going to be good for Clinton and what's not. And I think this is good for Clinton. The traffic, Megan talked about when we lost a lot of folks for a while. I had the idea at one point to add on to, you were talking about, would you want this near you? Well, my idea was to come down Maple Street where Thornwell Farm is now, but add another block at least of houses right out there if Thornwell would have given up some of that pasture. That didn't work, obviously, but there was an outcry on having the farm open up. You know, I walk out my front door and I can look right into everything, and it's turned into the only traffic problems we've had is from the same folks that drove fast before this thing was built, and they've been living there a long time, and I don't want to say anything. They may be kin to me at some point, I don't know, but it's really been turned out to be a good thing. One of the things that I've done, that I've heard over the years, we've been doing economic development. We've been the first, back in 2002 when I first got elected mayor, we were trying to talk to people into skipping over Fountain Inn and Simpsonville and Gray Court and Lawrence and coming to Clinton, because we're located in the absolute best spot in the state, right here where these 2 interstates come together. Manufacturers at that point in time said, we'd love to be there, but you got no houses. You got no place for people to live. And, you know, we're answering that. We're not, right now, the houses that we got on the books aren't going to grow as much. They're going to get us, hopefully, back up to sort of even. You know, it's so I don't, you know, the traffic might be more, but it might be the same as when everybody says we had this bustling downtown. Well, now that, you know, we don't have that many people, so downtown doesn't bustle as much. I think what I entered into all of this for was to try to make us grow in a smart way, and so that this place would be fun. It would be, everybody, we went to a meeting Friday night and everybody said, we ain't got anything to do. And, you know, I said, well, we're working on that, you know, restaurants and that kind of thing is what everybody wants. All sort of amenities, and it requires people. And that's the thing, Fats Cafe years ago for, you know, when it was running fast, we stood out there to talk them into coming here, and they said, you don't have enough rooftops, you can't make it work. And we finally got them, talked them into coming, and they realized that, you know, we got 50,000 more people that ride by on the interstate. But it's the decisions are hard. The decisions are the implications are you know, they change. They're difficult for some folks. They're not difficult for other folks. But this project, I agree with Mr. Kirkendall. It's the best plan we've had, I think. The Planning Commission approved it, and we've you know, I've always voted with the Planning Commission. So I think it's a good thing. It's going to take some work, and it's going to take some, you know, folks getting along and understanding. But I think we've talked enough, and it's time to.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
And I'd like to speak after Danny on one thing.
We just received, I mean, let me start out different. We just received all the documents about the court case in the past, I don't know, I got some of them today. I tried to read through them as quick as I could. I just want to reiterate, I feel like, and I would ask the people that are against this project to consider also, there is risk involved in this moving forward in the county. You may think they have a great case and they can win, but there is risk involved there. The appeal could lose, and this could go forward in the county. At that time, we lose all control over the project. We have no development agreement. We have, I don't think the project they presented to the county included some of the amenities, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
And we lose all the fees and property taxes, and we still have, like we discussed, we're covering up the police and fire, and I know we have a contract and things, but we essentially lose control of the project. I don't know that I have enough information. I read through the court's finding. I have not seen the appeal. Maybe that's good information that we need to deduct for ourselves. Does the county have a chance on this appeal? But I feel like that's the most important thing to consider tonight, not the merits of the neighborhood, because the merits of the neighborhood we can discuss all night and get in the weeds about lot width and things like that. But if it's going to go up in the county anyway, I would ask all of us to consider what amount of risk are we willing to take for that. Right. Because I don't want to see a year or two from now the appeal fails and it goes up and we're thinking, well, we should have just had it in the city then. Why did we lose out on all that? If there are people on council that feel like they don't have a good enough sense of what the appeal says or what's going to happen, how that's going to turn out, I would change my vote to table it. If we feel like we can get more information that would help our decision. Because I'm not comfortable with the level of risk right now where I see they're probably going to win in the county.
You think the county's gonna win or they gonna win? Which way?
I've only seen what the court said. I haven't seen the appeal.
Right.
But what the court sent, they're going to have to get it overturned on 3 different.
The court is, the county.
Whatever. The county's going to have to get it overturned on 3 different. Is that correct, Mr. Wham? They have to win all 3, or can they just win 1?
Well, and I'll let the developer's attorney talk about this, but there is you don't have any written material beyond that court order. So the appeal is just a notice of appeal that's been filed by the county. And as he mentioned earlier, there will be briefs that have to be filed. So all that information it's not there. You have, that court order is what is available.
Okay.
And that order is where the judge ruled in favor of the developer.
Yeah.
So would you be able to start the process under that court order?
My understanding right now is that we would be able to start that process. We have deemed approval effective as of June 23rd, 2025. However, I think there will be practical implications of trying to get, a permit from the county while this is on appeal. However, legally speaking, my understanding is that we are deemed approved and we are entitled to that, yes.
But could they file a stay?
They could attempt, I don't know what they would do, I can't really speak to them, but they may have an ability to try to stop that in some format.
Yeah. I mean, I'll finish with that. I'm comfortable tabling if we feel like we can get more information. But I think the worst case scenario is that it goes up anyway. All the people's concerns are still there,
So,
and it's not in the city.
if I may make a clarification, as far as the initial briefing and what would be decided, it would all be based on, kind of, I don't know off the top of my head what the standard would be for Judge Vance review, but it would be similar to what Judge Vance did. The same arbitrary and capricious analysis. And they would have to find that Judge Vance abused his discretion or somehow made an error of law on top of that. So they would not necessarily, they would be doing a review of, again, what kind of the same material that was submitted to Judge Vance. So as far as new material coming out, the record is set. There is, my understanding, nothing new can be presented. It's all based on what was argued to the Planning Commission and what supported that denial. So to a certain degree, the record is set.
The new information coming out is they are reviewing this, right?
Correct. The record is set.
I understand. I would be open to hearing from a neutral attorney as far as like someone that could give an opinion that I can't make on what chance the appeal has. And I mean, I would even be interested in hearing from the people who are against this project. What level of risk are you comfortable with, knowing that we lose all control of it? And we have the best chance, we have a development agreement, we have the best chance of making sure they do exactly what they say they're going to do. And we lose total control if it doesn't go through the city. So I'm open to getting more information where we can.
And this is first reading too. It's not the final.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Cook.
I'd like to make a motion to table it for a minimum of 2 weeks from today, not to hear more about the design of the plan, not to hear more from pro and con about why the subdivision is not there, but to review the proposed comprehensive plan that is out for review, to get a copy of the development agreement that they presented for us to review and have legal counsel look at from our side, and then have an independent attorney talk to us a little bit about the appellate process, not to be pro or con, just to explain what it is for us. And then, based on that information, we finish the first reading to go from there.
I would feel way more comfortable with that.
Can I say something? Danny, back to your first question. I meant to answer it and I didn't. The development agreement references a set of covenants that will run perpetually unless council chooses to vote differently. So I did want to point that out. It's effectively a 30-year term, but it automatically extends for 10 years after that, successive periods of 10 years, unless council votes to change that. So the city is a party to that. I just wanted to highlight that because that's part of that development agreement. It does have a set of covenants. So just for your information, I know you were concerned about the C or the R3 in the C3.
Well, and that's the other thing I'd like.
Now, I will say that has not been addressed.
That's the other thing I would like for the city to come back and tell us how quickly that could be handled.
So that was one thing. Now, that is not a prohibited use currently in this draft. That was what I think Mr. Leisman sent, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but that was something that needs to be highlighted. But that should answer some of your question.
But to Danny's Mr. Smith's point, and I'm sorry, Danny, you used your first name like that, but to me,
He answers to
we
that.
got a lot of documents today, after 12 o'clock today, that we were supposed to have prepared, to have studied, understood the ramifications, good or bad, and we were getting them that late today. To me, for us to make an informed decision that we feel comfortable for in our own heart, and that we feel like is doing the right decision for this city, then I think we need the documents well in advance to have that informed decision. And then we do it more as a work session with
Yeah.
this kind of information at hand.
So to that, you've got a motion and a second on the floor, which will have to be dealt with. Now, you can do a friendly amendment. I can't remember who made the motion, who made the second.
I did, Danny did. Smith.
In other words, before your motion can be taken up, that really ought to either, the motion has, on the floor has to be dealt with, or
I can offer a substitute motion, can I not?
you could do a friendly amendment would be the way to do it, but
To my original motion?
I'm not sure who made the
No, I
original.
made
No,
yours.
Megan made the
I'm
motion.
the one who gets to.
Oh, you're talking about with first reading A.
Correct.
I thought a substitute motion could be made in the middle of a regular motion, and that has to be dealt with before a regular motion can be handled.
I'd have to check my Robert's Rules of Order handbook. My understanding is you've got a motion and a second on the floor that,
And it was in discussion.
You've had discussion
And I
and-
brought to the floor a new motion, and it was
I
seconded.
don't think that can, if you're not the motion maker, I don't think you can offer.
As a substitute motion can be made by anyone.
I would never entertain another motion unless the original motion was dealt with and or either amended by the person that made the motion. I mean, I think that's the proper way to do it. So,
Should we just, well, I'll stand.
With the council of six tonight, that, I'm just saying that,
Yeah, I'll. Are you all proposing a maximum of 2 weeks, a minimum of 2 weeks?
I was just looking at my county. I don't think we need to prolong this on and on and on.
No,
But I think as
100%
long as we're
not.
giving the documentation within the next 3 to 5 working days, then that would give us 7 to 9 days to study it by the 17th or 18th.
FYI, I'll be gone the last 2 weeks of August, starting the 17th, but some people might be glad that I'm gone, so. And I'll be glad to be gone too. Just so y'all know.
Okay.
well, that's easy.
I'll rescind my motion, or amend my motion to table it,
For 2 weeks?
for 2 weeks.
Okay. Ms. Walsh amends her motion to table this for 2 weeks. We'll need a second.
Mr. Smith has to
Oh.
approve that.
I'll second that.
Okay, I was thinking he might. Okay. Any further questions or comments?
I do, if you take the 2 weeks, then just like I just stated, I'm not here, so that's kinda just throwing a vote out the window.
Are you gone?
The 17th, the 2 weeks, I'll be gone 2 weeks, 17th through be gone to Texas and Alaska.
Was 2 weeks
Back-to-back.
part of your motion?
It was. I
Okay.
can
If you can
amend,
do it before or after, I have no problem.
Let's just say before.
that would be one. Well, that
Let's
would
try,
only give us
let's
1
try
week.
after. Can we just move it to the next meeting?
The 31st? No, I think, if we move it to the 31st, that gives us 2 weeks. If we decide in part 5 of this meeting that we move our
Well,
September
why don't we
meeting,
just table the daggone thing?
that would be
That's what we're
tabling it
doing.
to the
That is
31st.
tabling it.
You got
You
to table,
gotta-
so you got to address it in 2 weeks?
Hey, she's saying August 31st. which
You'd
be
be
after
back
you
by
get
August
back.
31st.
I don't care.
Where will you be back?
We can find a date, but I think we need to make sure it's a time where we can all meet, and that's the important part. I don't think it's right to table and then come back without
Agree.
Ms. Cogg's
We
time.
will
No.
table till a time that every council member is available.
I
You
second
making
that.
the rules?
No,
want
she
you
made
here.
the motion. We
She
will
made
make
the
you
motion.
here.
I'm good, now whatever.
Okay.
Y'all go
well, that would be what we're voting on, that we would table this to a time that is mutually beneficial to all 7 council members.
Okay, and we have a second.
Second.
Okay, anything else? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no, and motion carries. So we are tabled until
So what, do we got a date, or no, we just tabling it to?
We're gonna
we
find one that
table it
works for
till
all
we
of us.
find a date. We're not gonna sit here and scrap it around
I'm
right
sorry,
now.
We will have to find a date because one of our members is out.
Y'all just let us know.
I
Yeah.
promise.
We'll be in contact.
All right, thank you.
Well, there goes the room.
Okay. All right,
We still
next,
have a meeting.
next order of business is Mr.
Bang it again.
Please exit quietly.
We're still meeting, thank you. Please exit quietly. We're still in a meeting. We're still got other stuff to talk about.
Thanks, sir. The next item on the agenda is for city council to consider amending of the agreement, memorandum of agreement with the YMCA. The reason I'm asking for this is several months ago when we were working on building the recreation complex and most importantly the baseball fields, we had a gentleman on staff that was up to speed, up to date on everything we needed to do with keeping the baseball fields playable, and that's a year-round task. Even though they may not be played on in the, in the cold of winter, but they still have to be taken care of. We lost that gentleman in December of this year, or December of last year. And so I've been working with the YMCA, and they have someone on staff there, a couple of guys on staff there that are capable of doing what we need to do. And I am requesting that we amend this agreement with the YMCA and give them $54,000 in additional funds, in addition to what the $222,000 we're giving them now, in order for those 2 gentlemen to help us keep up the baseball fields at a recreation complex. And as time allows during those days that they're there, they will also perform other duties as needed.
Okay, we have a recommendation from staff to amend the YMCA memorandum of agreement to make sure we can take care of our municipal ball fields. I have a motion from Mr. Kirkendall, second from Mr. Smith. Questions or comments? I think it's a good idea.
Have you completely, in your figure of 54,000, does that include, I mean, it being a new position, has everything been studied pretty good about what it's gonna really take to
Yes,
have
sir.
that person there?
They will just provide us with labor to keep those fields. Our budget within the city's Parks and Recreation Department, it's funded what we need to do to keep those fields up. They will drag them, they will keep the grass cut, they will make sure the grass is fertilized and weeded as needed, and they will be there to line those baseball fields when we have games, between games, whenever is needed.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir.
I just know, it being such a new position, we've never owned a recreation facility such as this.
Right.
And that 54 may not be enough.
Well, labor-wise, right now, yes, it will. And there is some more things that we'll bring to you later on as they develop. But there's a possibility at some point down the road, those fields may be turfed. So we would, they would still need some attention, but not what they have to have right now with having dirt and grass.
So would this have to be renewed annually?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to, I know there has been there have been comments in the past about how much money we give the Y. What's our monthly and then yearly?
It's $18,000 a month. $18,500 at this time, for $222,000 is what's budgeted in this year's budget.
Okay. And I just want to, I mean, I was previously on the Y board, and that number has not changed in 20 years,
Been quite a while.
at least 15.
We have raised it in the last 2 years.
Okay.
So we raised it $500 a month last year and this year.
Okay.
So we have tried to address that.
Yeah, yes, my point is it's not been,
But not drastically. We haven't
Right.
changed it drastically.
so I just want it on the record that, and these are from Mr. Nichols, the head of the Y, that, and this does not include all the, our money is specifically for sports programming, correct? They've spent $330,000 year to date for this calendar year. I assume they go by a fiscal year of the calendar year. So they're 3/4 of the way through their year on programming, which includes all of the sports, plus some senior programming, adult health wellness programming, which are things some cities are able to provide. We don't currently provide. So I just want to say that every bit of money that we send them
Is well spent.
is being spent on the things we intend for them to spend. I just want that on the
Yes,
record.
I was gonna ask too, is there a job description for that position?
We are working on one at this time. I think the YMCA already has one, but since that person is employed by the Y, so for the additional work, we're gonna give them the $54,000 to pay that person. They will not be an employee of the city.
So we're just doing a contract
That's
with the
correct.
Y
Right.
to do
That's
this.
It's just part of that YMCA contract. We're
Yeah.
not really hiring a person.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that takes us out of all
Yeah,
the,
we don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff.
well, insurance.
Insurance, benefits
Yeah.
from a,
Where are we
right.
getting, I mean, and just saying, I'm not being
Yeah.
smart, just
Well-
saying we're broke, where we, I mean, just being honest, you know, say you can't afford a dog catcher and all that, and I'm on the Y board, I'm, for anything, but where are we gonna get 54,000 to give it?
We have a budgeted position in the Parks and Recreation Complex that is not filled right now. So we're gonna use that position to fund this with the Y.
But just, okay, and just like you said, if John does decide to turf it, we can start over with giving them just an additional 20,000 versus we don't have to stick with this additional 54,000. If John turfs the fields, you said it's for a year, if John decides to turf those fields, then it don't need that maintenance for 54,000 a year. I'm saying, are we gonna have to continue to pay that 54,000?
No, we will work, Harold and I will work on this agreement every year going forward.
But just like now, they got 2 maintenance guys, Jason and Tommy, but like people pay to play sports, they're gonna use that to pay them. I mean, do you honestly feel like the 54 is the number? I mean, not 25, 50.
I've talked with Brian and Harold about this, and that's the number that we came up with.
All right. I can't remember
We have to vote on it.
where we are.
We have to
Okay.
vote on
All
it.
in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries.
All right. The next item on the agenda, I hope will be the easiest. As we set our agenda this year, we had inadvertently named September the 7th as a meeting date. I don't think anyone wants to come on Labor Day and meet, so I'm requesting that we move that date until September the 14th, which is the following Monday.
Okay, we had a recommendation to move our meeting from Labor Day to September the 14th.
So
I'll
moved.
entertain a motion from Mr. Cook's motion,
Second.
second from Mr. Kirkendall. Any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And we are moved there.
Next item on the agenda is for council to consider a work session date. There's several of you at some point over the last year has requested that we do some work sessions, and we conduct some talks about some things that may normally take a long time for us to discuss in a council meeting. And so, I have August the 17th, 18th, and 20th for those dates.
Miss Cogsdale will be gone.
That's okay.
Girl, no, you don't get out of this.
I promise, I can miss the other one as well.
Did you say 17, 18, 19?
7, 18th, and 20th. I think the 19th was a Wednesday, if I remember correctly.
And, oh, August. I'm in the wrong month. Okay.
It is August.
Okay. That's, yeah, I was looking at Friday and Saturday, like what?
And that's just a work session, so we won't take any action. You'll be able to be back in time for that.
Y'all can do both of them. I
You can
promise.
watch us on YouTube.
Yeah.
I promise I'll be okay.
So I'm looking at discussing some things. We're gonna have a CEDC meeting here in just a few days.
I'm okay on the 17th or 18th. I can't do the 19th, but I'm
good
okay
on those.
Monday or Tuesday.
17th, 18th, or 20th.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm good on any one of those three.
What
meetings.
time we talking about doing that?
6 o'clock.
Do we do it at 5? Or is that too early?
That's the council, that suits me fine.
Natalie won't be here. She's usually the one that,
Gary,
still
too.
hustling.
17.
Oh,
18,
yeah, I
or
forgot about Gary. He works too.
I'd say.
You away?
How about the 17th?
Is
That's a
17th,
Monday.
5 o'clock.
is 5 o'clock too early for you, Gary?
No, I'll slip that.
He can do what he wants to do.
You got that, son? All right.
Wait a
So we'll
minute.
do it,
Let me put it on my
the
calendar.
17th at 5 p.m. And I won't keep you 4 hours.
On Monday? That's all right. I get it. We'll be done by 7, right? I got to sing at 7.
Okay.
On Monday.
You want to do it
And then,
Tuesday?
Makes me happy.
Like I said, we're, talking about the CEDC. I've got some other things that I'll send out that we want to talk about. And if there's anything that either of you would like for us to discuss and bring you information on, just let me know, and we'll get that taken care of also. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Y'all really want to do reports and recommendations?
Nope.
No.
But everything's good, Cora?
Yeah, we're broke. Honestly, no, my comment was taken out of context because my comment never said the city was broke.
I don't think you did. Were the
You
one that
didn't
said
say
it.
it.
You weren't the one that said
No,
that.
you weren't the one that said it.
Well, I was quoted that says in the Chronicle saying something.
Oh, really?
No, you were not the one that was said.
That didn't come from this kind of meeting.
I only got read about it. All right. So we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Kirkendall, a second from Mr. Smith. All in favor, please